Hello everyone! So today is going to be quite special. After my lovely tier list of who I think is hot, I have been called out by my queen, Fran, who is also known as Jayce Girl, and like a really good artist. So yeah, you should go and follow her. Just saying. So yeah. Anyways, so today Fran is going to basically explain to me why Jayce is actually not as bad as I personally think he is. It's really hard to change my mind. And I don't usually go into these types of discussions in general, because usually the people who want to have these discussions with me don't know what they're really talking about. But I know Fran knows their shit, okay? So I will listen and shut up and let someone try and change my mind for once. It's okay. Johnny has done that maybe 4 times in the past 6 years that we've been together. So maybe Fran would be able to do that as well. I'm very opinionated. I know my shit as well. So I would expect to hear a lot, but also at the same time, as much as we all here to defend our favorite 2D characters, it's all for fun, you guys. Okay, let's not take this seriously. It's not that deep. We're going to discuss it and make as many connections as possible, like regarding to lore, but other than that, it's like it shouldn't be taken too seriously. Even though I know that Fran is gonna take it really seriously, because Jayce is the love of their life. I'm seeing them right now on the side screen, and I'm dying. So first of all, let's all say a huge welcome to Fran. Hi, Fran. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Fran, yeah, you need to move a little bit. Wait, let me try and fix that a little bit. Scooting, there we go. But no, we will fix that. We will always fix that. Ooh.
We've been trying this overlay for an hour before stream, and it still has issues.
Yes. No, that's not it. Ooh, maybe if I... Fixed! All I had to do is just double click. Hey! Okay.
Hey,
we fixed it. Okay, so this is how we're gonna do it. First of all, I'm going to say the things that I don't like about Jayce personally. On my stream, I said why I just put him into no. Now, I will repeat that, obviously, but also at the same time, it's really important for me to say that I'm also not a huge fan of Victor, so there's no a massive, like, Jayce is better than Victor and Victor is better than Jayce. It's not like that. No, I just don't like Jayce for, like, a list of things that I wrote down after Fran over here decided to send me a 4-page thesis on why Jayce is the best, and I will share it with you. I will freaking share it with you. It's like right here. I thought we're gonna just have fun and just, like, you know, fuck around, but no. This bitch just dropped on defending the defender, or 7 years hyping up for Jayce, okay? So
7 years I did my waiting.
Yes.
7 years of it in League of Legends.
Now, right now, it has been reduced to 3 pages. I'm gonna give them that. But yesterday, it was 4.5. And the reason was because there was also arcane things. We're not going to be discussing arcane Jayce or arcane Victor. They have nothing to do with the League of Legends lore as much as I wish they could, but it's like completely different characters. We will talk about them a little bit after. So, like, after we're done having our very ridiculous debates, we will get into arcane. But for now, we're just going to discuss that. Now, what else did I want to say? I wanted to add something. So yeah, so why did I put Jayce into the no category? The reason why I put him into the no category is because of several things. Wait, now, like, obviously I had to write my own list, so let me just pull that out on my ass real quick. So, the issues I have with Jayce, it's not as organized as Friends, but it's okay, you'll manage. So,
wait. Before we start, chat says chat is over. It's broken.
The chat is broken, you're right.
The thing that took us the most to figure out, of course, is not working. It took us like an hour. Wait.
Boom! I did it. I mean, it's kind of there, okay? If somebody comments right now, that little stupid YouTube bar will get out of our way. So that would be amazing. Also, for some reason, my Spotify keeps turning itself off. Okay, yeah, there we go. So the chat is not broken anymore. So here's the issues that I personally have with Jayce. I find him ignorant, I find him naive, I find him as a know-it-all, I find him pretentious as fuck, and I find him judgmental. The reason is that, first of all, there are several points that you've made in your statements. Points that I took in and I posted them here, so I'll know what I'm talking about. So, when it comes to like something that you said about, which we'll get into later, right? Because you're supposed to be talking about it. But like some of the stuff that you said was that some individuals are simply not interested in people as a concept because honestly, fuck people. Which I completely agree with. Same. Like, some people just can, like, hold you back and you don't want that. You want to, you know, move yourself forward. You want to do shit in your life. And there are some people that shouldn't be there because they are just gonna fuck you over. Why the fuck is Spotify doing this to me right now? You good? You good, buddy? Okay. Another thing was keeping the pace with people who don't seem to understand things as quick as you do, and why not every person has the attitude or patience to be a teacher. Like, I don't want to be anyone's teacher, right? Like, nobody really does, unless it's like a friend of yours who you want to teach. But even when it comes to League of Legends and somebody wants to start playing the game, nobody really wants to train them, right? Right. So here you go. That's just how it is. The thing about, in the lore with Jayce, obviously he is a very, like, I can't say, like, compared to Arcane, because, like, a lot of people will confuse it with Arcane, but, like, in the lore, he is actually not coming from, like, a really bad family. It's not like he, like legit, like, super poor. He's actually pretty aware of his, financial situation. These are the stuff that I took out of there. So, because it says, most things came easy to Jayce. Okay, Jayce is privileged. And he's privileged, and, like, things come easy to him because he is mechanically inclined, right? So, like, he knows what he's doing when it comes to mechanics, and science, and all of that. He could never understand why his peers had so much trouble with what to him were simply simple concepts. Understandable, some people are better at shit than other people. As a result, nearly everyone who worked alongside Jayce found him arrogant, dismissive, and unwilling to slow his pace to help his colleagues catch up. In my opinion, that is ridiculous. I don't think anyone should slow themselves down to help other people. There's absolutely no reason for someone to do that. If you're good at something, you should go along with it. And no, like, especially in schools, you know how in schools they do that, like, you know, when the teacher is just like, you're too ahead, you need to wait for the class to catch up to you. And some schools in the Middle East, they do that. In America, they do that. In Europe, no, it's like, oh, you're a first grader who wants like a 4th grade test? Yes, here you go. Educate yourself. That is 10 out of 10. So here, the fact that Piltover is asking of Jayce to slow himself down for the rest of the students is dumb, because as a scientist, he should not be doing that. So I'm not mad about him being arrogant about his, the shit that he can do. And in general, like, there's a lot of other arrogant champions within League of Legends that we adore, but it's just the mix of also being naive, also being a know-it-all, also being pretentious, and also being judgmental. Because when it comes to Jayce and Victor, and like the way that Jayce reacts to Victor and what Victor does or doesn't do, and he just decides that that's what he's all about, that's what bothers me. So Jayce sought to improve humanity via versatile technology. Victor sought to resolve problems inherent to humanity itself, such as physical decay or illogical prejudice. They both knew what it was like to be ostracized by other colleagues, Victor because of his unconventional thinking, and Jayce because of his rudeness. Now, like, Victor was, like, we need to remember that Victor came from 𝙞𝙤. He didn't have everything. He needed, like, and the only reason that he even got to Piltover was due to Professor Stanwyck. Okay, Professor Stanwyck, he was the one who pulled him out of 𝙞𝙤, not 𝙗𝙪𝙧𝙞𝙬 like they did. So, like, he pulled him out to, and then basically showed him that he is capable to do a lot more than, you know, like, basically, like, he's kind of like an equal to, like, a Piltovian, you know, like, here's this poor child from the slums that I have brought to you because I'm such a good person. Yes, and he's a genius, so we're gonna showcase him as this, like, magic child. And he was really, really, really good. And the only one that could understand him and vice versa was Jayce. They didn't really have a solid friendship. They never did. So when it comes to, like, the whole situation with, like, 𝙬𝙬𝙀🙬 and 𝙬𝙬𝙀🙬 being basically stolen away from Victor by fucking Stanwyck is not really Jayce's fault. But at the same time, as a scientist who is aware of the scientific achievements that Victor has done, and we know what he's all about, because before the whole thing with 𝙬𝙬𝙀🙬, they were already working. So together Jayce and Victor invented a mechanized construction suit for Piltover's dock workers, something hardy enough to enhance the wearer's strength, but light enough that its wearer wouldn't immediately drown upon falling overboard. However, the two reached an impasse when Victor design for the next version of the suit included a Chemtech implant that would increase the wearer's strength output by tenfold while also preventing them from getting tired, panicking, or disobeying instructions from the superiors. This is from Jayce's lore. This is how Jayce have seen it, right? So Jayce has an issue with Victor making this technology because, in his opinion, Victor is basically, like, trying to mind control them and, like, taking away their freedom. Why did Victor do that, right? So already Jayce painted Victor as this, like, mad scientist. Like, no, you're insane, you're fucked up, like, you shouldn't be doing that. So, from Victor's perspective, we actually learn why Victor had done that. And that is because, where is it? There we go. This came to a head during a reluctant collaboration with Jayce to improve the diving suits used to keep Piltover's dock clear of underwater debris and lingering chemical waste. Two things that Victor is very, very, very knowledgeable in, because Victor grew up in 𝙞𝙤. Victor knows his shit. Victor knows that if this water is toxic AF, we need to find a way for people to be able to work in there. The reason why they can't work in there is also explained here. And it is, but many wearers claim they saw phantom corpse lights in the depths or suffered from chem-induced hallucinations. When divers experienced such symptoms, they panicked and often got themselves or their fellow divers killed. Victor saw the problem was not technical, but with the wearer's nerves unraveling in the inky depths. Basically, they were losing their shit and killing one another in the waters that they had to clear up. I personally don't understand why we're using divers and not fucking robots, but, like, you know, that could have been a solution. But in this case, I guess they didn't have the solution to that, or else that's what they would have done. So they're using divers. So instead of Jayce being the fucking boy genius that he is, recognizing the actual problem and the actual situation, and seeing the perspective of Victor and why he chooses to do that, he decides that Victor does it because he is against free will and mental enslavement. Like he's into mental enslavement. Like he wants these people to be mentally enslaved. And that's not the case. First of all, Victor never does anything without consent. You can see that over and over and over again throughout his stories. He's always asking, like for example here, in his story with the little kid, the kid that was like bullied, right? There was a kid who was bullied. He came to Victor, not because he wanted to, and Victor was first of all trying to help him out, kind of, against his bullies in the most how could I say that, distanced way possible. Like he basically like gave him the option. He basically explained to him what he can do and the options that he had. So one of the options that he had is like, yo, I can like microdose you real quick for like 20 minutes and you can solve your problem. And the kid is like, is that permanent? And he's like, it can be, but not this one. And then at the end of it, he's like, do you feel your weaknesses falling away? He's like, oh yes, said the boy. And then Victor says, remember, you can always return if you wish a more permanent solution. So like he never does anything without anyone's consent. Besides that one time where he brought like all these dying people in 𝙤𝙤 to like try to save them. But then Jayce didn't know about that and then kind of killed them all. So, so yeah, but like that's what Victor does. Victor's whole idea is basically using technological augmentation to help rebuild Zoanites injured in accidents, perfect breathing mechanisms, and work tirelessly to reduce human inefficiency by decoupling physically from emotion. His work saved hundreds of lives, yet seeking Victor's help could be dangerous. So Victor was willing to do the really questionable sus shit that nobody else was willing to do. And it worked. Like a lot of what he did, it really, really worked. And it saved many, many, many people. Especially here. Like, so this is what happened basically because like in Jayce's story, when Victor goes and he steals the crystal from Jayce, the reason why he steals the crystal is because that is the only thing that can save these people. Like he realizes that is pretty much the only thing that he can do, and it's explained here. It is in. Okay, here. So, after a toxic event in the sump saw hundreds of men and women in the factory wood transformed into rabid psychotics, Victor was forced to use a powerful soporific to sedate the victims and bring them back to his labs to try and undo the damage. The toxin had began to eat away portions of their brains, but Victor was able to slow the degenerative process by opening up their craniums and employing machinery to slowly filter their bloodstreams of poison. The technology available to him wasn't up to the task, and Victor knew many people were going to die unless he found a way to greatly enhance his purgative machinery. As he fought to save these people, he detected a surge in Hextech energy from Piltover and saw immediately that this could give him the power he needed. He goes to Jayce's house, lab, steals the shit, like knocks him on the head, like, because he's desperate to save the people. And Jayce is not willing to cooperate because Jayce thinks that he is a fucking psycho who just, like, you know, tries to build a zombie army. Meanwhile, in Victor's lab, readying a stream golem host for each afflicted person in case their body gave out under the stress of the procedure. Empowered by the new crystal, Victor's machines went to work and gradually the damage from the toxins began to reverse. His work would save these people, in a manner of speaking, and had Victor retained more than a fragment of his humanity, he might have celebrated as it was. The barest hint of a smile was all he allowed himself. So all he did always was to like try and basically save the people, right? And he was willing to do anything, but like Jayce wouldn't see it like that. The way that Jayce seen that entire scene when he went into Victor's lab to confront him was where is it? When the surgery was done, almost no trace. No, that was about him. No. Okay, basically, like when he went to Victor's lab, it's he basically all he saw was like a horrific scenario of bunch of dead bodies with their head split open, and he was like freaking out because like, oh my god, what have you done? And blah blah blah. And again, all the way before that, he was not completely unaware of what Victor was doing. Now, the thing is that I highly doubt that, because he should have known of at least of Blitzcrank. The way that Stanwyck brought Blitzcrank into Piltover and claimed that he was the one who created Blitzcrank, first of all, the only reason he would have heard of Blitzcrank is if he heard of what Blitzcrank has been doing for the people of 𝙞𝙤. And what Blitzcrank was basically doing is saving the people. There was like a massive gas leak, there was a bunch of people suffering, and Blitzcrank's thing was to basically save all these people. So Stanwyck, the piece of shit, decided to steal Blitzcrank and basically take all the credit to himself. So obviously, the people of Piltover know what Blitzcrank has been doing. They know what he's been doing, and basically Stanwyck is taking all the credit to himself. And Victor, who shows up after spending like months down under helping all these people, comes back and saying like, hey, that's not true. I'm the one who made it, and clearly you can make it. You can see it. The entire robot is made out of brass. Brass is a type of metal that is basically mostly used only in 𝙞𝙤, because that is like the cheapest metal they can use, and they basically that's all they have. And when you have like a massive robot that is made out of brass that is known for like doing shit in 𝙞𝙤 and is also like augmented, you can make the connection. Like Victor has absolutely no reason to go against the professor that had brought him to the university and basically put himself in a position where he can be basically kicked out of the school. And when he turned to Jayce and asked him for help, or like, you know, like tell him that it's not true, tell them that you know that it was me, he just decided to remain silent. And which in my opinion is absolutely ridiculous, because as a scientist, you're supposed to uphold a certain like respect, and you did have respect. You had mutual respect, but the only reason why he didn't have respect to him anymore is because in his mind, he had decided that Victor is fucking Dr. Frankenstein and is just like knocking himself out, making zombie army down under, because he was never willing to see over the basic fucking Piltovian vision that he had created around Victor. So just like, yeah, so these are basically the ignorance, right? So he's like ignorant as fuck. The fact that you're absolutely unaware, you're calling yourself this like the greatest scientist, and you're like extremely pretentious, but at the same time you have absolutely no fucking idea what's going on in 𝙞𝙤, and decide to like attack a fellow classmate, your actual like scientific partner, who you have respected up until the point when you decided to create this entire persona for him. The naivety of like, how dare you like try to control these human beings when they're like trying not to lose their shit under this toxic water that would literally cause them to kill one another. Obviously, if you would have explained these people what is in the water, they probably wouldn't have gone there. And if you would have told them, hey, there's this like scientific epidural that we can shove up your fucking spine so you would stop feeling things for like, I don't know, 30 minutes to clear up these super toxic waters that can cause you insanity, is that a better option for you? And they would probably be like, yeah, you know, I don't want trauma. If that's like, you know, if I have the choice to not give natural birth, then why the fuck would I give natural birth? You know, that's the logic here. And Jayce is like, no, you can't do that. That's inhumane. You're controlling their minds, and you shouldn't be doing that. And it's like, I think people can consent for themselves and tell you what they can or want to do with themselves. Like he just took this like super high moral ground of like how I'm like so great and I'm such like, you know, a proper person, such a proper human being, where in reality you were so blind to everything that was going on that you were unaware of the fact that thousands of people were dying in Xi'an on the daily, including the people that you just proxy killed in Victor's lab because you had no idea that they were actually people who he was trying to save. Were like people inside of golems. So like, yeah, so like this like, I know it all behavior with like the extremely judgmental, like Piltovian point of view, it drives me insane. So yeah, so this is why I personally dislike Jayce, because yeah. Oh, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I need a breather. I'm really passionate about this. Go ahead.
Like,
I will
two
open up
things
your things.
for starters. No, but it's easy, because like, the thing is, I have enjoyed Jayce since the first day that I downloaded League of Legends, and I know exactly the day. It was November 24th, 2015, because it was the day 𝙨𝙬 was released.
Oh.
I joined League of Legends because a friend of mine who had been playing for a long time came to me and said, you know, they introduced this new chapter. It's going on in a few days, and it's basically female 𝙗𝙬𝙘 from Road to El Dorado. And Road to El Dorado is my favorite animated movie ever.
Same.
I know the songs and the dialogues by heart. So I joined for 𝙨𝙬, who is still my favorite, absolute favorite League woman. But if I stayed in League of Legends, aside from the art, the lore, not that much the game, because I like suck at it, but I suck at every game. I stayed for Jayce. And the thing is, in all my history of enjoying TV shows, reading books, watching movies and everything, if a character is flawed and has issues, if they're an asshole, if they're a villain, if they are not very cricket towards things in comics or any other kind of media, I don't care. What I care about is when characters are cohesive to themselves and their narrative can be compelling. I do have a few of those, you know, comfort characters that are basically absolutely fine and dandy, and they couldn't hurt a fly, and they are super simple characters. But my favorite ones are the ones that make me question myself, and are the ones that also you can question. Like, my number one way to show that I love a character is mocking them. Like, this summer, I spent the entirety of this summer making fun of Viego. I love Viego, but I cannot wait to like hold him and shake him and make him in pieces. And the same thing I do for Jayce. I call Jayce a piece of ass every day, and every time opponent team picks Jayce and I'm not playing it, you can stay assured that I will target them and murder them and feast on their bodies, because it's just like that. I don't know, honestly, I don't know why, but you can say Jayce makes me happy because he's stupid. I love stupid characters, and he's so smart that he's dumb. He has absolutely no manners towards people. He is full of himself, and when characters are like that, it's incredibly fun when people actually bash them to pieces and make them realize that maybe they're not that great as they thought they are. Like you see in his core story with Amaranthine, he gets his shit beat up. The automatons sent to wreck his lab are kicking his butt, and Amaranthine is laughing about him. And she also mocks him. And when she does say the same sassy lines of maybe you shouldn't have that he said to her before, he goes like, well, yeah, kid, you got me. So I think he has the same vibe as Frank Castle in the Castle TV series that I absolutely adore. They are very sure that they know what they're doing, that they actually don't. And they are gullible, and they can fail, and you can laugh as they squander and try to get them hauled together. And it's just like that. It's so fun. It's also incredibly fun that these huge, bulking piece of a man cannot have his story told without Victor's story being told. I love when characters have so much of an interaction between one another that it's basically impossible to tell them apart, because it makes it so easy and so interesting to tell stories about them. As anyone can notice, both Victor and Jayce are cookie cut on the 80s superhero supervillain comic standard, and I majored in comics. I majored in comics and illustration at a fine art academy in Italy, and my final thesis and discussion was mythology and comics. But one of the longest paper that I wrote during my younger and more vulnerable days in art school was about superheroes and supervillains, and how sometimes supervillains can be superheroes and vice versa. In fact, my second most favorite animated movie ever is Megamind, because it's that. The big Metro Man superhero is indeed a douche in a bathing robe, hiding because he's tired of being a hero and he wants to become Music Man so he can keep the logo. This is so stupid, it's impossible not to be incredibly fun. I don't want, it's not that I don't want, but I don't care if a character is morally correct. Otherwise, nobody would like villains, and we all know we all love villains. I don't care, it's not my thing. I care that even if they are super wrong, and even if you can't stand them, and even if you would like to smash their chins, they have this ability to entertain, and nothing is more entertaining than being incredibly flawed. So yes, he is classist. Unfortunately, we all are. Willing or not, it happens. Yes, he does have prejudices. We all have. He's not the best of friends. Nobody is. He's very human, and that's what I like about him. And as much as I like him being very human, I also like the parallel of Victor trying not to be human at all because, feelings. But this makes him even more human. So much that the automaton he recovered in Zone and tried to argument becomes human themselves. Blitzcrank becomes human. That's what humans do. We see humanity in everything. It's like the tiny experiment of people looking at electricity plug sockets. They have like 2 dots and a line, and immediately humans see a face. We recognize humanity in everything, and it's just what we do. It's like we recognize human behavioral patterns in animals. When the cat does like that because they want to be pet, or when they try to imitate us, or when animals go together. That's what we do. That's what we are, and it's so interesting that for once in a game like League of Legends, where you basically throw slippers at each other on a lane trying to catch your enemy, you can achieve such an important discussion as recognizing what humanity is and what really does make us human. So, I super love Jayce, and he has grown to be like probably my second most favorite chat ever. The first one being Alucard from Castlevania, because I am I have a sweetheart for tragic vampires. But I really enjoy Jayce being there, because you cannot take him seriously. You can make incredible fun of him, and it's just that. I think I probably do that with all the characters that I really like, because I am a comic artist. I think in stories and possibilities. If you follow me on my social media, which Twitter that I used to overshare a lot, you will know that I have a tiny black book where I put down everything that comes to mind concerning fan works and things that I don't have the time to draw, because drawing takes a lot of time and I don't. And it's filled to the brim with alternative universes. What if Jayce was actually a supervillain and Victor wasn't? What if this thing happened instead of this other thing that happened? And having characters that are not that have so many faces and so many nuances that you can actually turn them like they're a 3D render of a person and look at things sideways or from another point of view, or give you the beginning of a new story, whatever you think of them. They're absolutely my favorite. Also, as a conclusion to the introduction, as Jayce, as the chat is pointing out, I am the author of Crystal Quest. I was lucky enough in 2017 to be recruited for the community artist comic project, absolutely out of sheer luck, of which I still pray God and Jesus and say thank for the opportunity to illustrate Crystal Quest. And Crystal Quest is a 2-season comic about the tabletop RPG skins universe, where Jayce is a paladin. And honestly, I have been a dungeon master for like all my high school period. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I do art actually at the moment for Dungeons and Dragons, and nothing is as stupid as a paladin. They're just like bricks, and all they do is smash and throw dice in order to smash. It's amazingly fun. And I began as a paladin in my Dungeons & Dragons story, and then since I am incredibly lucky at throwing dice, and I was capable of slaying one dragon with 2 dice, everyone casted me out and said that I should be a bard. So I learned to play the ukulele so that I could be a bard. And the best bard I've ever been was an undead bard, and I would sing the Corpse Bride songs from Tim Burton to all my crewmates, and they couldn't stand me. But just yes, it's this is the reason why everyone can hate on Jayce, and anyone can hate on Jayce at the same time. I don't take it personally. I don't care. Dude, in 7 years liking Jayce, and in 3 years role-playing Jayce on Tumblr, I've seen so much shit that now I am an Olympic champion in swimming in shit and literally groveling in it. But the thing is, either you like it or not, I wish people would recognize that they're actually well written, well plotted, cohesive, and fun. That's just it. I don't want people to start coming at me and say Jayce is the best character ever. They're not. The best character in all League of Legends is Karthus.
I had to intervene. It's Swain. I shall not hear anything else on this stream. Swain. Okay. Every single Noxian, period. No, just kidding.
But Jayce is so much fun that it's entertaining even to hate on him for me. So thank you for having me and like spreading the love for Jayce. Cause like if people are going to come out of this stream hating him more, I will be like, I did my job. And if people come out of this stream loving him more, I will have done my job. But at least you be aware that Jayce exists. He's fun. His cards in Legend of Runeterra are super strong. His fruity little hammer triddling gives me life. And when he says shocking on the riff, I go like swoon every time. He has like 4 lines, and I love every line that he says so much. It's great. So
yeah, I think my like, obviously it's all, by the end of the day, is like the taste of, you know, it's your own personal taste. Like everyone has their own favorite type of champion that they enjoy, like character in general, you know. It's kind of just like how I dislike Qiyana so much, because I am just repulsed with the like the Ohime-sama trope. I despise it. I've seen it so much, like I've seen it done so many times, and when you take that along with like, eventually in like anime series, you will have the Ohime-sama, and she will have her moment, and like she's the queen bee and blah blah blah. But by the end of the day, you see an end to it. You see like her being like fucked over, and it's always like that. It's like you have that like one bitch that you're like, just, you know, drives you insane, but it's such a good character, but she drives you insane, and you're just like waiting for her to get, you know, for karma to get at her. But like with Qiyana, it just like, because the lore, like the stories are just cut and they're not continued, you're just kind of stuck with it not going anywhere. So I don't like, because she has no progress, and she's just like this bitchy brat that, like, you know, decided to kill an entire village just to make a point. It's just yeah, no, like, and like, again, the whole like sassy being a bitch is her personality is just like, it can be cute, but shouldn't be just her entire personality. She can be that, but like not just make the entire character revolve just around that. Now, the thing is with like Jayce, that he's pretty similar to Qiyana in that matter. That it's just like over the top, being like that, and the fact that Victor had been like, if Jayce would have stepped back from the way that he had seen him, Victor would have had it would have given Victor a different outcome, because Victor was basically pushed into the idea that yes, emotions are fucking useless. Like I'm done, because like he was kicked out of the university, and he was kicked out of the university because Jayce went out of his way to go and basically rat on him and tell them a bunch of lies that basically resulted in them kicking him out. And then Victor going into a very, very deep depression, like super, super deep depression. And it says it right here. Victor sank into a deep depression, and during a traumatic period of introspection for many weeks, he wrestled with the ethical dilemma he now faced, finding that once again human emotion and weakness had stood in his way. So, and like good intentions could overcome ingrained prejudice to blind him to human failings. So he operated on himself to remove those parts of his flesh and psyche that relied upon or were inhibited by emotion. And as much as he tried to operate himself and pull it, like, you know, carve it out of himself, he didn't really manage to do that, because you're still being quite humane. Like, why else would you like try to help a little kid? And why do you respect the idea of consent? And why are you still trying to better humanity? If like,
I mean, the thing is, with Victor, it's super fun because the guy is so smart. He thinks he can erase feelings by chopping his arms off.
Yeah.
Dude, feelings are here.
No, he operated on his psyche. It wasn't just like his limbs.
That I think is a byproduct of him, you know, having the very old hex core lore, which has been now redacted away. because he actually had the hex core in his super old lore. That's why you had the X core to augment in his gameplay. And by using the hex core as a power source to augment himself, he slowly fell into madness. Because honestly, I don't see how you could operate on your psyche unless he's like pin needling his head.
We don't know. It's fucking Sun. Like, yeah, we don't know what they're doing there. He literally,
as a diehard Hellraiser fan, that would be incredible to see Pinhead Victor. I would love that. But he's basically trying to acupuncture his brain, trying not to be depressed.
I mean,
and, oh my god, I'm feeling things. Let me chop my hand off.
No, I think it's more like it's more like he was chopping his limbs away more because like they got into the in his way, because he could have achieved better things if he had like augmentations, and he has realized that if he's not gonna do it on himself and practice on himself and understand what he's doing, he won't be able to do it for others. Like, it was kind of like part of what he did, because he said like Victor knew he could not expect others to follow where he did if he didn't do it first. So he basically kind of just like sacrificed himself before using people as rat labs, which
it is also a homage to medieval doctors, because we all have this vision of medieval doctors taking slaves and experimenting on them. Actually, no, medieval and also Victorian doctors actually tested their own medicine before any other patient. So we can solidify the fact that Victor is our tiny Victorian child, because he did exactly what Victorian doctors did and tested his own medicine on himself. It's like a little Sherlock Holmes trying adrenaline on his body before using it for any other purpose. So, well, Victor is so much fun. He's like, I don't want to feel pain, and like, I'm done with life, let me erase life. And it's like such a fun concept, because I don't know, I really
it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic.
Yeah, he's trying to avoid being human by being Eva.
Yeah.
How can we not love that?
No, when it comes to like what like the lore cards, like, I adore the lore Victor cards. Obviously, I have been swooning all over Twitter when they came out, but like, again, it was really hard for me to disconnect the idea of what Victor had become compared to what Jayce had become, and the fact that they were trying to villainize Victor so much for no fucking reason. There's no good guy, bad guy in this story, and for some reason we have this glorious revolution Russian accent evil mastermind who is trying to control cats with mechanics. It makes no sense. And I think besides the fact that this is happening in the lore, on top of that, they're trying to also push that narrative, which makes no sense. Now, when honestly, before I jump into anything else, chat, tell us, what do you think? Because so Fran, they like, Jayce because exactly of everything that I have pointed out, and I dislike Jayce exactly of everything that we've pointed out, so... The big question is how do you guys feel about it? Do you feel the same way? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And after you guys gonna go into it, we'll hop into the arcane discussion, because we want to talk about that, because we talked about that yesterday for 3 hours.
Also, with Legends of Runeterra, I love what they're trying to do, because you see, when everyone is they're trying to make Jayce the hero and Victor the supervillain, and by making Victor the supervillain, they're making him argument cats and having him cat heroes and everything. I'm they're not villainize him. It's it's an 80s comic book villain. It's lovable to an extent.
I hate it.
So if
the story is so tragic. The story is so tragic. There's so much to it. There's so much depth to it. you can't read his actual League of Legends lore and be like, haha, that's a comic villain, because it's not. Like, what they did in lore and what they're doing, and well, like, I'm not gonna talk about Arcane, but like, what they've done in lore, that's kind of like, for me, it's sad. Like, I wish there was more to it than just like shits and gigs and jokes and things. Also, if I remember correctly, not a lot of the things in Legends of Runeterra is actually canon. Like, they said that some of the stuff there is like what could have it been, or like a scenario that could have happened but never actually happened. So it's just like them exploring that area. Kind of like how they're doing right now with Arcane. Cry. So yeah. But hopefully sometime, it's like someday in the actual like League of Legends lore, they're gonna like implement all of these parts that they're like showing everywhere, and we're gonna have like a cohesive, consistent plot.
We can
to
only
these characters.
dream.
Like, we can only dream
Honestly,
of that. Yeah.
at this point, what is canon?
Yeah.
It's basically like.
So Delirio says, I hate that I like Jayce. He's a dick, but that's what makes him kind of lovable, kind of like the lovable douche. Yeah. I just don't like douches. I have a massive resentment. Like, I
mean, in real life, nobody loves a douche because you have to actually deal with them and they make you terrible. But in fiction, you're allowed to like everyone. In real life, I don't like serial killers, but in League of Legends, I love Jhin. That's like, you don't have to like characters and fictional personas based on what would happen if they were real in your real life, because you're missing the point. Fantasy is here on some extent if they're not perpetrating harmful stereotypes or behaviors, because there's a line that we do not cross.
Yeah.
But if they're not harming anyone and if they're not perpetrating a harmful stereotype, it's okay to like and enjoy and get invested in someone who is either crazy or maniacal or bloodthirsty or everything. It's fiction. 90% of the characters that I love in fiction, I would throw punches with in real life.
Yeah, I would too.
But the thing is that they're not real, and that makes them more likable. I
think for me, like, when it comes to like character design and like my favorite type of like character tropes, so it's, or you're going to be like extremely fucking evil and like mastermind me, and like you have plots that you're like doing. Like, I love that because it's just like you're having like a glimpse into what it's like to be them for a moment, which in my opinion is like super cool. And on the other end, obviously, I love the really, really adorable and cute characters that are like really innocent and they're just like trying to do what they can to make the life better. And then you have obviously the edgy ones, which are also my favorite types of characters. I can't help it. And then there's the ones that I dislike, and those that I dislike are the ones who are naive, because they piss me off. So like the main reason why I just despise Lux is because she's so fucking dumb and naive, and these are two things that can drive me insane. Just completely drive me insane, because I'm sitting there and just like pulling the hair out of my scalp, because I just like, how can someone be this stupid? How can someone be so dumb? Because I'm kind of like trying to put myself in their shoes, right? Because like sometimes when you're reading fiction, you're kind of like trying to put yourself into that position as well. And with this type of characters, I can't relate. They irritate me. I hate these people IRL, and I hate these people in fiction. That's why I despise shonen anime, because like the main character is also this like super like positive and naive and dumb character that just like wants to do what's the best for everyone. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. No, it doesn't work like that, buddy. No, sorry to break it to you. I think the first time that I actually had like smiled for the first time was when that character was like called out on it, and then they started shaking and crying because they knew they're gonna die. And it was actually Naruto when I only started watching it during like the first. No, during like it's kind of like the first, second arc when they're like going to the Mist Village and they're encountering Zabuza, who's like an actual, real, mercenary, scary ninja dude who's gonna murder you. The encounter that they had with him was the first time that I, as a kid, was shocked by a villain, because these kids who were playing ninjas, you know, like for about 10 episodes, all they did were like, oh yeah, we're going to the classroom, oh yeah, we're bickering, oh yeah, we're doing tests, oh yeah, we're going on our first mission. And then you have this like dude who's like, oh, you think you're cute? Oh, you think you're gonna run around and pretend you're a fucking ninja? And he's just like, he just shits and rips into them. And he's just like, I'm just gonna kill you all. Do you realize that? Like, that you all are nothing to me. And like, he explains it. And then like, they go out of their way to talk about how like, the reason who he is because like, in his school, they do battle royales. So he was the last one who survived in his classroom. So when you think about that, compared to what, you know, the Naruto gang was having, and seeing that, like, I think that was like the first time in a shonen anime that I enjoyed the fact that this dumb fucking character was finally put in their place and realized how grave the situation really is and acted accordingly. And like something that like in League of Legends I'm waiting to happen. But the problem is that like all these really, really happy-go-lucky characters, they just keep reverting back to whatever it is. So like the only time I've seen that happen was with I think Lux and Nocturne, when Nocturne was calling her out on her bullshit, and I was just like, oh, thank you, thank you, Mr. Demon, aka Fiddlesticks' child. That is really kind of you to actually say the truth to somebody's face for once. So yeah, so and just for me, it's really hard for me to see them as like to find them attractive if they are stupid. Like it's one thing to be a himbo, and then it's just like it's kind of endearing, but then you're a himbo that also does like really, 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 really bad shit. Like so bad, and you're not holding yourself accountable, and you're not willing to like do anything about that because you think that you're better than everyone. At least with himbos, they kind of like stay humble and quiet and just like
but like if they don't stay humble, to me they're not a himbo. They're just big, buff, and whatever. Like
Kronk. What do you mean?
Because I don't know. I identify himbos as big and good and stupid. Jayce is just big. He is not good, and well, he's stupid, but it's not that kind of. It's not soft stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Like all of the terms that I have learned during my stay on Twitter, I would never call Jayce a himbo. I think the closest thing that is to Jayce is a jock, maybe.
Yeah.
Because jocks are like, you know, nasty sometimes. So that's it. But I will never call him a himbo. Like, himbos are generally good-hearted. Like, my girlfriend is really into Promare, so Gallo is a himbo. Because he's good-hearted. He's big.
He's big and good-hearted, yeah.
But he's good-hearted. He has good intentions, and when he's dumb, it's because he lacks the brains to actually understand shit. So I don't see Jayce as a himbo, and when people point at Jayce and try to make him pass as a himbo, I'm like, do you know your tropes? Do you need a page of the know your me stuff like that? Because like that's not a himbo. It's just big, and he really is big. Like in Legends of Runeterra, they made him massive, and I am like, thank you.
Compared to the Arcane one, because the Arcane one is a himbo.
Yes, he is at a point where he is rather him. I just can't wait for him to grow up, get tired, and wreck shit. Because I'm really manifesting it for season.
I mean, he kind of did, like around like the last episodes, but then like I think I was really happy to see him finally stop being a little fucking pussy. But at some point, the one where you're like, oh no, I killed a child. That's it, I can't do anything anymore. And it's like, dude, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay, you already committed. Vaya's here with the gauntlets. You need to go through and solve this issue. He's like, no, I can't. I can't do this right now.
The thing is, with Arcane Jayce, and I think I would like to talk a little bit more about League of Legends Jayce before going to Arcane Jayce,
okay.
so that you can see the difference. But the thing with Arcane Jayce is that he is so much more human than any other fictional character we've seen, because he really is living his idealized dream of helping everyone. While like Jinx goes pentakill whenever everyone has at least smashed a few skulls or seen blood and guts, he hasn't. And like I compare it to myself. I am a huge fan of horror movies and splatter movies. But honestly, when I saw a corpse in real life, I didn't know how to react. And I'm used to see people slaughtered because I literally only watch How I Met Your Mother and movies every day, all day while I work to keep me company. I have probably watched every horror movie existing. I'm a huge fan, and when I see people being ripped apart, I don't even flinch. But when it happened to me that I actually saw a car accident, and it wasn't even that gruesome though, it was real. And when you see that things get real, it gets you in a very different way. So I like Arcane Jayce a little less than League of Legends Jayce, but we'll get there. I like Arcane Jayce because he reacts exactly like a real person, and he's very well written.
Mm-hmm.
With all his flaws and all the things he cannot or thinks he can do, he reacts like a human. And one thing that you can say in Arcane is that everyone is incredibly.
Yeah.
And the very good point of the whole Arcane series is to make everyone feel weak at some point, and make everyone feel like I'm just standing here. Seriously, I'm at my limit.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see them, it's impossible even to pick a side, because we have all been there at some point, and if you haven't, that will.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're really good at like showing vulnerabilities around the series. Yeah.
Life is weird. Anything can happen, and they showcased it in the most artistically beautiful way possible.
Yeah.
So it's just that. It's just that. I like characters that feel human, because not in all cases I'm like, what would I do if I were them? Because sometimes I would never, absolutely never want to be in their same situation and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I never think of, like, I think I did a comic that's quite interesting, and I mean, I'm not shilling myself, but during summer, for the Ruination event, I did a mini comic with Zaya and Rakan debating over Viego.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's from Rakan's point of view, when he says, I picture them like trying to get involved with Sentinels. And Rakan says with Zaya, I don't think I can do it, because I understand. He went crazy because the love of his life was lost, and he wrecked shit. And honestly, I am afraid that I might do the same, because when you are actually faced with something, you don't know you are going to react.
Yeah.
It's a white knight syndrome to
Right.
think that you will always hold the higher moral ground.
Yeah.
So when characters act and react cohesively with how they are written, I respect them more than characters that never meet a beat.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. Because it's not interesting.
I would rather have someone doing really bad shit but being cohesive. That they're picking always the correct decision and always be like, nice, you're exactly doing the same thing, the right thing, you're always on top, chief, coolest in the world. Because like, nobody is like that.
No.
Absolutely no.
And if they are, that's a red flag. That's a massive red flag if they're like that. Because like, if they act like everything's fine all the time, yeah, something's off. Something is like very, very, very off about them. It's very off-putting too. It's kind of like Uncanny Valley in a way. Because like, it's unrealistic.
There's a series of books that my mom likes, because they're actually very well written. I don't remember the author, but it's an American author, and he writes thriller books. And the detective who is the protagonist of this series of books always knows what they're doing. Always knows what to do, always knows who the killer is. In fact, those books are super short. Because like, when you always know what to do, what is there to say? What is there to tell? Life is trial and error. And if a character doesn't go through trial and error, then... But yeah, I mean, I like them for a season, but then...
I have to give you another thing, like...
This is the only thing I can express. I'm like, yeah, they good, like, okay, but they won't keep you hooked up for 7 years. So that's just it.
Another thing that you did was when you humanized Viego, which was like something that I feel like we were lacking so much, and it was really frustrating because like for the entire like event, all we've seen is like the side of Viego, which is like insane, right? Like in reality, we have known about Viego, like the Ruined King in particular, for years before that. So like, and they had like an established story, very tragic story, very dark story. And like for like the longest time, all we had is just like this fucking psycho simp who's just like screeching his wife's name and like running around trying to find fucking pieces of her soul, which is what, and then like, so like it was really frustrating that that's all we've seen, because obviously it made no sense for somebody to just like, you know, be so obsessed with somebody that he loved so much, and they're like, and there wasn't like more context to it or like more like background to it, which like the Ruined King game did, by explaining and showing us that their relationship wasn't always bad, but it wasn't always good, because that's what relationships are like they can't be perfect, and like to expect them to have this like magical fucking beautiful relationship is ridiculous. Like even Disney like relationships don't work like that. Like the entire movie is built on them having a conflict and then they're resolving it at the end of it. So it's like nothing can be perfect and nothing can be just like seen as like black or white. So I completely agree with you on that.
When I was in comic school, we had a saying that went basically, no drama, no plot.
Yeah.
You cannot write anything interesting if there is something to overcome, whether it is global tragedy or personal trauma. If nothing happens, that you are only going to have one tiny chapter that you read once and that makes you feel good for 20 minutes.
A fanfic! It's just a fanfic. That's what it is.
But like, you know, fanfics, I think it's reductive, because some fanfics bring the drama that we lack in actual stories.
You're right.
So, it's okay to enjoy something that is unproblematic, but please recognize that it only lasts so little before it gets stale. Okay? And, I've had my fair share of happy, how are they called? Coffee shop alternative universes.
Oh,
okay,
yeah, the wholesome
sunny,
ones.
soft, vanilla. They make you
just
relax,
like a feels
and
good
they
kind of
pat you on the
story.
head and make you feel like everything is going to be okay. They last a chapter or two,
Yeah.
and then they all look the same and sound the same. And if I have to be trapped in a loop where two characters longingly look at each other over a café, I can only stand so much of it.
That's why you all should choose to read monster eroticas. They are full of spice and terrible things happening in there, but also at the same time it's really spicy. Yay! Woo!
Probably nobody is going to believe me, but being very, very, very ace in my life, I don't think I've ever read anything erotica before.
What? I need to fix that! No,
I don't
just kidding.
consume that kind of content. I think I have some non-safe for work tags blocked and muted on Twitter.
Understandable. Like, no, some of that can be like too much.
Even in fiction, when I look at the series, 9% is people banging, and I'm like, can I skip this?
Yeah, speaking of people banging, the whole like sex scene with Jayce and Mel. Look, as someone who like you guys know me, I'm a degenerate. Hi, my name is Dinka. Like in that particular scene, I was just like, oh, it was just so cringe.
It's like watching people having sex on a TV series while your mother is sitting behind.
Yeah. That's exactly how I felt. Oh my god.
This isn't happening. Of course, my mom knows what sex is because she had me. But honestly, I wish this thing never happened. And
yes.
Both of us don't know what this is about, and just skip over.
It's just because, like, you see, like the 𝙤𝙤 and 𝙬𝙬 story. It's just such a rich world with so much to tell, and so many things can happen and develop in there. That the fact that they decided to have sex as like a plot, like a moving point, and the plot is like, especially when it was also layered on top of like Victor dying and like doing like, you know, going through the void. Like I couldn't understand that. I was just like, oh, okay, this is happening, and it's just like, oh fuck, Victor's dead. Oh, they're fucking again. Oh, okay, he's dying. Oh, her hair is so nice though. Like it was just like such an awkward moment. Like we could have completely removed it. And like you've mentioned yesterday, because we talked about it yesterday. So like you've mentioned how that entire scene could have been completely removed, and it could have been just like a scene dedicated, like, I don't know, like Mel and Jayce were like standing on the balcony watching the fireworks, like you said, and like, you know, having a little kiss, and like having a kiss, and that's it. That's the scene. End of scene. Moving to Victor going through the void and like going through the entire thing and getting fucked over and like, you know, like going through the entire process, but it's just like, oh, they had sex, and oh no, he left her in the bed alone. Oh, here's Victor dying. Like, I was just like, yeah, I was completely.
The only thing that was like, the sex scene. I am a huge fan of The Lonely Island, and I could only imagine a very first day running out of Mel's bed, going, "I just had sex." And it felt so good.
Like, how does he even know? How, like,
and it was just the only thing that I liked about the scene, the fact that you could meme it.
So no,
otherwise.
Bella's pointing out, wait, I like the BDSM yodel. There was nothing wrong with the BDSM yodel, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with the brothel. They both made sense. 𝙤𝙤 is fucked up, okay? These people are fucked up. They would try to make money and like and try to live like out of anything that they can. Not to mention that brothels in history in general, they were always they first of all were controlled by women. They were made by women to be able to control more businesses around the area. So like if the owner of the brothel is a woman, you can be reassured that she also owns the bank. And she also owns like half of the houses in this fucking town. So it was a business made by women and controlled by women for the sake of profit and like, you know, just like also having like a safe environment to do that shit. So the fact that it was happening in 𝙤𝙤 is like absolutely understandable. And we've even met Babette, right? We've met her, we've seen how she is, she had spoken. And like the kids know Babette, she knows them, she feels for them, she feels for Vander. Vander was protecting them. It was a community that was all mutually agreeable and understandable. But in Piltover, it's just like
the brothel was a device. The brothel is a paradigm that shows you that in Zone, the brothel to me is a paradigm of Zone. It shows you that even in the most seemingly dangerous place, seemingly deranged place, there is actually a pulsing community out there to care for each other. Because if you think brothels like in Le see is Fantine reaching her low point.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? You were like, it was lagging out. Repeat that.
Sorry, if you see, sometimes brothels in media are portrayed like if problem.
Portrayed as what?
Brothel.
Portrayed as what?
As bad.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, because when you see in Les Miserables, Fantine reaches her lowest point in a brothel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also can show you that a place people think so lowly of, regardless of it being like normal, it's a job like anybody else. It's the name of the place that sounds shady, but the place itself is honestly a community and a place to feel safe in.
Yeah.
And that is Zone. The name of Zone is shady, but inside of Zone there is a community that looks out for one another.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely normal. I mean, it was absolutely a brothel in Zone.
Yeah, it didn't feel out of place. It actually like made sense that we would see a brothel in Zone. Like, of course they have. Like, I mean, they have like shit tons of like, you know, other questionable things there. So why wouldn't they have like a brothel? But even the brothel is not a questionable place because it's just like it's as normal as the bar and as like the stall that sells you stolen goods in the black market. Like, there's really nothing wrong with it. But like when it came to like Piltover, like, it's not that it cannot happen in Piltover. It's not like people in Piltover are absolute fucking prudes. But the idea, and like, and it did make sense that Mel would use sex in a way of like, you know, manipulations, because all Mel did from day one was to manipulate him. The fact that it just like, you know, maybe she had feelings to him at the end of the series is like one thing. But at the very beginning, all it was is manipulation. And that sex had a reason to it. And like, you know, because she needed him on the council, she wanted to use him, she needed him and his weapons to put her on like a higher pedestal, to basically name herself as the richest fucking, technically Medarda, not Medarda, in Piltover. So yeah, so like it did make sense because like political sex agendas, boo 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 boo. But at the same time, it's like you could have done literally anything else that wasn't sex, because it's just like so out of place and in just like that specific scenario. Also, like, it's a fucking scientist. Like, it's not that scientists don't have sex. It's just like in general, like in that specific scenario, it was just like he is so hyper focused in so many things, and there are so many things that have to be done, and like your brother slash best friend is literally dying and like coughing blood, and you're like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna smash. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So it just made no sense.
All the minutes could have been used to flesh out a tiny bit for Dusty Ash.
Yeah.
Poor Dusty Ash. Poor thing.
I mean, Sky could have gotten a little bit more screen time over there. Like, there would be like, he like show them like Victor and Sky running around in the puddles and stuff like that, and then maybe that what brings him back, like the something, because she calls him out of that mood zone, whatever, and then he's just like Sky, and then she goes poof. He's just like, no! Like something, you know? Something that is not just like, here's sex. Have fun with that.
It wasn't even that fun, because like,
it wasn't!
like, kid, don't overlay it with the X-Core and whatever.
Yeah.
If you're gonna show it properly. So don't show it at all.
Yeah. in general,
separate.
yeah, in
Like,
general, like the whole, so like Jayce's entire like persona and like Victor's entire persona was like really, really weird compared to like League of Legends. And but like it's not that those characters aren't bad, they're okay, but it's just like we're so used to like to the League of Legends characters that we would have expected them to act more like they do in there, because they're a little more fleshed out in like a more like mature manner, I'd say, like more like developed, scientifically developed, and scientifically inclined, where here it was all about drama, relationship, drama, relationship, drama, relationship, I'm dying. The end. So,
but we are not talking about Arcane.
No, we're not. We're not talking about Arcane, no.
This is a League of Legends stream.
Yes.
Everyone who joined just now, this is a League of Legends stream. Welcome to the League of Legends Jayce stream.
Well, I didn't feel anything when Skye died. I mean, I just said, okay, that happened. Exactly. Like, you could have done anything to, like, kind of make us feel something when Skye died, but none of us felt anything. Not even an
You
awe.
can't feel anything for a character you don't know. She barely appeared
Exactly.
like 10 seconds before.
Dude.
It's like feeling pity for, I don't know, the 5 enforcers that Jinx blew up during Progress Day. How would you feel bad about people dying if you... I mean, you always feel bad about people dying as a general concept. But feeling for a character that at some point disappears, you have to like know the character at least a tiny bit. If I I noticed Kai at my second Arcane rewatch, because during my first Arcane watch,
Same.
I was grabbing something and then I forgot to play pause for like 10 seconds. I went, got drink, got back. Kai was already gone, and when she went, I was like, who the am I supposed to know her?
No, and like when Victor, when like little boy Victor was like playing in the water, and the little girl who was there like with him apparently was Skye, I understood that only after like the second or third rewatch. Like I didn't know that was Skye. They didn't even make like.
But like the thing is, they show her as a child in the, and she is doing her business, swimming with her friends, and Victor is stomping after the tiny boat. And what's the connection? I mean, there were kids in Zone. Okay, that doesn't actually mean they're connected.
How the fuck did she end up in Piltover as a scientist?
Oh Lord!
How? Like, because like we know that Victor was dragged out of there by Donger, at least in Arcane, but like Skye, who brought her onto that? Yeah, but anyway, we're talking about League of Legends, so we're not talking about Arcane. So yeah, I think yes, that was Skye Bella. Yeah, I think that in conclusion, somebody asked if I think that he's hot. I think it was Tesla. I don't find Jayce hot because his person, like I don't find hotness just by looks. Like I need the whole like shebang. I need the whole personality. I need the whole thing to decide whether someone is hot or not. And with those, like him having the traits that I dislike the most, that's a massive turn off for me. So yeah. Sorry, not sorry. These are my feelings.
It's okay. It's less competition.
Yeah, but I do agree with everything that you said. I do agree with it.
Actually, I was thinking about the list that I wrote to you today, and
yes.
there are some points.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll open it up.
I'm very proud of the tiny titles that I added.
Yes.
So maybe we could like skip over it a bit and leaf through my notes, so that like we like it, we don't like it. What's the deal with Jayce? Let's go part 2 of what's the deal with Jayce, and why 99% of the time people actually like read over and just assume things and move on, and like everyone assumes things.
Hi, Flareback.
So let's assume some more about Jayce.
Okay.
My part 1, of my Jayceable debate was called No Country for Weak People. And that's about 𝙞𝙬. And I have imagined Jayce with the bob head cut, like in No Country for
Oh my god, no. No.
But, the thing is, when people say, oh my god, this character is classist, yes, they are. We all know the lore about 𝙞𝙬 and they were the same city. They split with the cutting of the isthmus to increase commerce, and 𝙞𝙬 became the byproduct of everything that Piltover didn't.
Yeah.
So on Piltover, I always had this little headcanon days that it's called Piltover because it's over, and 𝙞𝙬 is short for
zoning. Oh, okay.
Just
I like that.
I think that is not in, like, the thing that Sarah Fortune is fortune. Okay,
Misfortune, yeah.
It's super nice because what is the thing? All sailors believe that having a woman on board
is a misfortune.
Misfortune.
Yeah.
And she is Misfortune, and it reads as misfortune.
Yeah.
So it's the tiny bits in lore that keeps you willing to move on. So, Piltover is the bright city where dreams come true. Is like the America of the legends.
Oh my god.
If you work hard enough and if you're lucky enough,
you'll get to Piltover. You'll get to Piltover. Yes. Pretty much.
You get to Piltover, and everything will be served to you. And if you are lucky enough to be born in Piltover, you will definitely have a push that is way different from anybody else.
Yeah.
And honestly, the thing is, we see the flows in social division because we are outside. Okay, so even in real life, you are the byproduct of your environment. You are the child of your... You are what you are taught to. You are what you are led to believe, and you will adapt, willingly or not, to the behavioral patterns of things that are around you. Some people may have the outer vision or the interest to break out of these patterns, fortunately, but the thing is, they also need to be inside of a system that is in favor of looking outside and thinking outside of the...
Right.
Piltover, as brass and beautiful and hyper...
Progressive.
does not enforce this kind of behavior because it's like a... It's like a what? As soon as you see that there's a trick, the magic stops working. So everyone in Piltover is led to believe that they are good just because they are. It's like when people think they are graced with talents by the will of God, while in fact, talent is nothing without practice and hard work.
Yeah.
And that is 𝙞𝙬. Okay? So, bettering humanity comes later on as a concept. And when we are introduced with Jayce in his lore, he is a native son of Piltover. And he believes in progress, in hard work, the Piltover way, and not going to 𝙞𝙬 unless you are forced to. So it's not like Piltover doesn't want you to see that there is something shady going on, because the second you see it, you will see that it's not, everything is not as gold and shiny and
questioning. You'll start questioning a lot of things that Piltover does. Yeah,
it's the thing. Even the brothel discourse. I do believe that maybe there's but they are hidden away or masked as, you know,
secret dominatrixes in Piltover. Camille just like owns a secret dominatrix society within the walls of Piltover. Nobody knows about that, and she will only send it to the people that she tries to get secrets out of, because that's what usually brothels were doing. That's what Babette was doing as well, because Babette was using her brothel to reach Piltovan politicians and get information. So yeah, I totally see Camille being a dominatrix and owning a well, no, I can also see her as a dominatrix. But in general, yes, she can own it as well. Yeah, anyway, continue. Yes.
Is Jayce being judgmental? Yes, because he was born in a judgmental place. And honestly, when everyone goes to me saying it's impossible for
Wait, impossible for you to what?
It's impossible for you not to see it.
Oh, okay.
Not to see that the city is suffering. Guys, how many times in your life have you been outside of your own nation, seeing eye to eye with actual other nations in need of help? I have been once, but because I was very lucky. It doesn't happen that much for you to touch with your own hands, and
yeah,
there's problems to fix. At the moment, we are in real life in a moment where social media is the quickest way to learn about everything, but still so many issues are not being discussed.
Right.
There's wars we don't know about, there's troubles we don't know, problems, and we are aware of everything. Cameras everywhere. Picture Piltover, who is very advanced in technology, but it's still based in a world that is basically fantasy, evil, or steampunk.
Yeah.
It's not that they have all this info.
Wait,
and if you
wait. It's completely missed it. They don't have that information about all the what?
They don't have all the information about what is
going on. Okay.
Because, like, if they had social media, do you really think they wouldn't have understood that those fucking crystals come from literature?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're there debating it still.
Yeah.
And thinking, I wonder what is this? Yeah. There is so much to discover that you have to understand that they are in a moment in the history of Valorant where they do not know everything. And it's very easy to oversee certain issues. So it's very hard as someone who reads the story to understand that they're not reading it as you are. You are being presented with everything you know. They aren't.
Yeah.
You are omniscient. They're not.
Yeah, also, like, the only person that he really knew from 𝙞𝙤 was technically Victor. So he was, like, the only person who could really explain it to him and show it to him, but also at the same time, he never did that. So, because, like, they weren't that close. They weren't ever that close, and also, like, Victor wouldn't just, like, run around and, like, flaunt the fact that he's a 𝙞𝙤ite, because, like, that's not what he's there for. But at the same time, I do believe that, like, at some point he could have, like, it should have reached him, because just like I mentioned with, like, 𝙬𝙬, the fact that the professor was aware of him and everybody else was clearly aware of them, to the point where the professor decided to take all the credit of 𝙬𝙬 to himself. Jayce had to know something about that. And for him to take a position in that situation was kind of, like, sus. Also, like, also when it comes to, like, you know, capitalism, right? Like, Piltover is, like, a massive capitalist, like, society. If something bad happens in the place where they're doing business, it will affect, like, the sparkling, glorified fucking city that they live in. So, in that specific time, the reason why Victor wasn't around was because there was a massive explosion. There was a massive gas leak down in 𝙞𝙤, and Victor was running around trying to save people. I'm not sure if Oriana wasn't, like, part of that as well, and, like, was trying to help them.
I think it's the same.
I think it's the same.
I hope it's the same.
Yeah.
So that we could join several chapters in one moment in time. Because we know that, like, 𝙞𝙤 has, like, explosions every day, but at least one common explosion.
Yeah, it was, like, talked about by everyone, so I think it was, like, Victor was there, and Oriana was there, and even our mommy was there. Renata was there, yes. She complained about it, and she was like, where the fuck were you, Jana? Why aren't you here helping us? So like, if
Because
that's
nobody
if
believes
something
in Donna
like so like
anymore.
if something like this on this scale happens down there, it will be brought back to Piltover. Those news will be brought back to Piltover, and the fact that Victor comes back around the same time, like about 2 weeks after that happened, he shows up and finds out that his invention, which is Blitzcrank, being taken away from him. It just makes no sense that someone as intelligent as Jayce, who is also like an apprentice for House
Jopara.
what
Jopara.
yeah, so that's how you pronounce it
In Italian.
in
it's
Italian. Okay, I was just like, wait, what? So yeah, wait, how do you spell it in English now? I can't think of it. No. House how do you spell it how do you pronounce it in Italian again?
Jopara.
Jopara.
Just like this, Jopara.
No. How? Okay, I forgot how to say it in English now, because now all I can think of is in Italian. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so what I'm saying is, I think that Jayce should have known of that. So, like, it makes no sense. Like, obviously we know that he didn't, but it makes no sense that he wouldn't. So, yeah, continue.
It depends. We will get there in the we don't talk about Blitzcrank.
Okay,
bag.
okay.
Yes, and another quick thing about Jayce. He is being classist, but at the same time, he wants better humanity.
Mm-hmm.
As we have mentioned before, he is not a people person.
No.
Does he look like a people person?
No.
This is Jayce's mind.
I think a lot
He's
of us
not a
can
people
say
person.
that. I think a lot of us can agree with that.
But he takes humanity as a wider concept.
Mm-hmm.
This thing that he wants to better humanity, he considers humanity a concept that is tangible. Probably the only thing that is not tangible in his mindset is that humanity is so vast and big that you can try to improve it, but he is lacking the thing that humanity is actually surrounding him, and he don't. It's the meme of, why are you trying to be loved by everybody? You don't even like him.
Yeah.
But he's trying to better humanity, because when you the brains and you have a decent heart, you will use that power to help people. And then some others will use it to implant microchips on monkeys, but we don't talk about those people here. So yes, the thing is, regardless of that, we get to part 2 that I name He's an Ass.
Yeah.
Jayce is an ass.
He's an ass.
And it's the trouble that I have with this aspect of his personality is that I like him as he's fun. But the thing is, everyone loves a character that is sassy, when they're nasty, and when they're baddies. But then Jayce comes and suddenly everyone hates the douche. Why is that? It's like
I think it's because it's like of the mix of things that I've mentioned, because it's just not just him being a douche, right? There's just like there's more to it. Like, we don't hate on Aurelian Soul. Like, we don't care. We like leaving that he's sassy.
On purpose. He will cause douchiness on purpose. But the thing is, I can't excuse characters murdering entire cities, but I drove the line at someone being a good friend. Like, come on.
Yeah, by the end of the day, it goes to the idea of everyone has their own taste when it comes to like characters, right? Because it's just like this is already a character thing.
I mean, it's a taste. Because I'm not the kind of person who says he is not an ass. He is.
Yeah.
I love
you
that
like
he
him
is.
because he's an ass, yeah, and it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's so normal.
He's an asshat. He's so idiotic. So himself. He is that, and I recognize it. And as part of his personality, that was what builds Jayce as a character. If he was super smart and also super nice and also helping the Frieza, and that would be like, we only, like, you know, it wouldn't serve well to the story, because it would be like, oh yes, Victor, take what you want. Victor, I will help you, and then we have nothing.
Yeah.
So we need the douche. He is not the hero we want, but the hero this story deserves.
It's the hero that Piltover needs. Okay?
Yes,
that's
he
it.
matches his city perfectly. If Piltover had a positive hero, it wouldn't even be Piltover, because the positive hero would Piltover out for their shit.
Yeah.
And it would end the magic.
Yeah.
He is super assy, and he's just perfect, because everyone in Piltover is an ass.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous, brass, shiny, golden, performative, and socially incapable of doing things. It's perfect.
Yep.
He is the embodiment of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So he fits. He's coherent. He may not be pleasant, but he is coherent.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think Legends of Runeterra tried to send away a bit of his douchiness.
Yeah, they did. Oh, he's so likable now. Oh, look at his gay squad. Oh, look at him going to parades.
Everyone, because he knows to building an effort.
Yes.
And everyone is like, yeah, Jayce, our pal. We laugh a lot, and he pays for breakfast because he's fantastic boss.
Yeah.
And everyone at the forge loves his fruit he has wiggling as he waves his hammer and twirls his giant weapon. He's adorable.
He allows us to just, like, you know, express ourselves through not wearing any clothes as ironsmiths, because I'm sure that my great-grandfather, who was also an ironsmith, was doing his job without clothes on. Yes, let that sink in. But yeah, they completely, like, it's not that he sended it off a little bit. It was just like, yeah, let's just completely ignore this. Here's this really fruity cake. Eat it.
He does have snarky remarks for all of the forge workers, but they're like playful banter compared to what he could have been. There was a meme.
Wait, there was a meme going on about what?
There was a meme going on Twitter about Jayce, and he had the 3 stages. You had Arcane Jayce, you had Legends of Runeterra Jayce, and then you had League of Legends.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you just fell. Arcane Jayce was like, I'm sorry, let me help you get up.
Yeah.
Legends of Runeterra Jayce was like, oh, please be more careful next time. Haha. And League of Legends Jayce was like, how does the ground taste, idiot? That's perfect. That's perfect, because he will definitely laugh at you falling and will mock you for it.
Yeah, no, they're all completely different. I feel it's kind of like, it kind of sucks that it's like so, like, there's no consistency with his characters. Like, they all keep changing. I'm scared what the MMO Jayce is gonna be like, you know? Like, the MMO is gonna come out, we're gonna have Jayce. Like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna be a little mayor who just cares about all the people all of a sudden, has little kids just running around him? Like, like, what is he gonna do? But
next time is gonna be a Care Bear. The cog on his chest
he needs to be a complete villain now. No, he needs to be a complete villain. That's it. We have the nice one, the himbo, the douchey, and now we need the evil. Like, he's a completely evil mastermind. Yes.
I have so many comics for evil Jayce in my black book that I have no time to write. It makes me sad, because writing villains is the best
so
experience.
Good. And it's so hard too. So, like, it's really hard to write good villains. So.
But one thing that I think is cohesive throughout all the Jayces is the people.
The people that what?
The people pleaser syndrome.
Okay.
Because you see, both in Legends of Runeterra and both in League of Legends, you see him hanging out with people, and his demeanor with everyone, likable, smooth talker that knows how to get people aboard on his experiments, and to
Lend
keep
him money
working
to
on
win.
that.
No,
And
but he doesn't
goes
really
to-
do anything. He doesn't need to do anything because like
no,
they
people
have
who
content
pro-
like the was it the Madar? No, not the Madarda. Oh my god, Madarda. The Jopra, there we go, Jopra, Clan Jopra, in English pronunciation. So yeah, so Clan Jopra, so they went to Jayce only after they have tried all the scientists in Piltover, and then they're like, okay, well there's only one douchebag in this entire town who might be able to actually solve our problem, so let's give it to him. And he was like so determined to like do
would
it.
be perfect in a high noon setting where people, it's like in the X-Men where the Days of Future Past when they go
after what?
would you
Sorry.
like to join our team, and he goes like, fuck off. And Jayce would be like, yeah, hand me the crystal, douches, you should have come to me first.
Oh my
It's
god.
like, that would be absolutely that. But the thing is, we see him and will definitely see him. His fuse is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. He is a man of action. He is someone who makes things. He's a maker. He's a blacksmith. So when things take too long and do not happen and do not become real, as soon as he imagines them to be, because he pictures them in his head and then he them.
Mm-hmm.
When things happen to take a longer pace, he grows in action.
Mm-hmm.
And is ticking, is tapping his toe and everything. And I love it when in Legends of Runeterra you cast his card and rats, because it's like...
Wait, can you repeat that? Say that again?
Bureaucrats.
Oh, yeah.
He's like... People are not letting me smash
bureaucracy,
things as
yes.
much as I would like, so
Yeah.
let's go down to business. And I like to think that he is an ambivert. He's an extroverted introvert.
I wouldn't
He
say that
does
he's
attend-
very extroverted. He isn't.
He does attend to parties and...
Not because he
He
wants
comes-
to.
Huh?
Not because he wants to.
When you are forced by your role to do certain things, you will carry them out as best as you can.
Well, I wouldn't, like, he never showed that side to himself. Even in the lore, like,
In
even
Legends of Runeterra, he does. In
Legends of Runeterra.
hanging with the pharaohs, being
Right,
like,
right.
yay, my man, let's ride a car and everything.
Yeah.
Then you have him 5 seconds in a party, and his stamina starts to lower.
His
and then
social
he will probably
battery.
have to, like, seclude himself in his lab for
Honestly
not
saying.
talking to anyone and barking off at everyone trying to find help in his lair. 'Cause
Yeah. I completely understand it.
that.
I completely understand it. I relate to it. Yes.
he is relatable in this.
Yes, yeah.
Like, when I have to make Zoom calls for work, I have to be super professional and super happy about everything, even if I am not very... Zoom call ends, I'm like, oh, I will never call anyone again. Oh, look. So, that's the freelance life. Jayce is a freelance scientist,
Yeah.
and he has to put up with lots of freelance shit. So,
Yeah.
he is relatable in that. He is an ass.
At the beginning,
He's an honest ass.
at the beginning, he was a freelancer, but now he's like he's been snatched by Geobra. Yeah.
Geobra and Pharaohs at the same time, I guess. In Legends of Runeterra, actually, Pharaohs exist.
Yeah, he
in
hangs
the
out with
Legends.
Ferris a lot in Legends of Runeterra. Yeah.
Even in I haven't had much time to play Wild Rift, but there was the small Path of Champions thing that you had to carry out with guilds and everything, with champions, and you had Jayce talk to some champions, and I screenshotted one of the first interactions he had with Jinx, and he mentioned that the clan Pharaoh paid him to synthesize Shuriman crystals. So I don't know if it's canon or not. It's mostly not going to be
Interesting.
canon.
Yeah, no.
But he does that, and he hangs with his fellow Pharaoh's friends.
No,
a
but
lot.
it
So
would
maybe
make
he knows
sense
the milk.
because it would make sense because like it took him so long to figure out what the actual crystals were made out of, and the Pharaoh's clan is the one who's like controlling the entire hex crystal industry in Piltover, including the synthetic ones, and they would literally, like, a Camille will go out of her way to kill others to keep the monopoly on that business. So it would actually make sense that if he was the one who created the synthetic crystals. Yeah.
Well, I always had a doubt concerning that part, because we had Hakim building synthetic crystals for Camille, and then Hakim disappeared, and all his projects vanished, and everything was silent, radio silence. And then at some point Jayce pops out and is like, let's start over again with the crystals. Cannot stop progress.
Right.
So this is a part of the law that I would really love to be a little more clear and a little better explained. And that is why I on the visual update chart, because I want to know more about the crystals, and I want to know if actually we are keeping on harvesting species of crystal animals and ripping their souls off, or we are learning the hard way and we are something else.
Well, I mean, Jayce kind of like figured out that there was like an entity within the crystals eventually.
He felt the crystal was singing.
Yeah.
But he's not a musical man.
After he cut it, chopped it, burnt it, froze it, tortured it until it screamed, and then sang to him.
He's a scientist.
I know. It's just like, no, but then, like, the way they went into like obviously he had no idea, right, that this was like, you know, a living being, but like the entire paragraphs of like extensive explanation of what 𝙨𝙚𝙧𝙞𝙤's fucking entire lineage was going through. That was like so fucked up. I was reading it, I was like, no!
Because you know the crystal is a black one.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you doing? Stop, don't you see? It's suffering. And he's like, let's see what happens if I boil it. What happens if I smash it? And I wonder what happens if I put oven, and you're like, please stop, it's sentient, you idiot, don't. And he carries on his little experiment.
It's like, what if I actually cut a part out of it now, so like I will chop it? Yeah, no, it was terrible. Okay, let's...
I mean, the first thing you do after poking something with a stick is chop.
Yeah.
It's scientific protocol.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I'm not a scientist, but I can assure you, chopping up stuff, it's see if they bleed.
And diluted in solutions. Yes.
Absolutely. That leads to part 3 of our discussion, and
it is how I met my arch nemesis.
Yes, and how is my favorite thing. It's impossible
to separate Jayce and Victor. Yeah.
Because they're all about one another. Their story, you cannot read, their names are in each other's story.
Yeah.
You cannot read one without reading the other. It's kindred of the scientific community. Never one without the other.
Yeah.
And to best enjoy the lore of both, you have to let go and understand that they are both incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
They're the smartest people around, but none of them is completely right. None of them is completely wrong. They have this way of not talking that leads to disaster in any way possible. And that's the comic book thing that comes to the surface.
Yeah.
You cannot have a character without his concept. They're a yin and yang. That's why I think
I wouldn't even call it yin and yang. They're like, there's no like a higher evil, lesser evil kind of thing. It's just
no, they're both stupid because like they both have things that they're correct with, and they both have things they are wrong with. Mostly in the way they carry out their debates.
Mostly in
and
the fact that
beliefs.
they just don't communicate and don't say everything, like the
Absolutely.
details of everything.
With this, it seems like we're in an anime where everything happens because characters speak
Yeah, just don't
to each other.
communicate. Yeah.
The Japanese way of not communicating.
Yeah.
We don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about our projects. We don't talk about our plans.
No.
We don't talk about shit.
No.
It's not that we just don't talk about Blitzcrank. We don't talk about jack shit. If they both knew Bruno, they wouldn't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They do not communicate. And both the fact that both of their lores are written by their own point of view is interesting because it leads you to see that they both think they're right and the other is very wrong. And they are incapable of finding a middle ground. I always picture them in their lab like tiny puppets go, anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. That's what they are. They're sock puppets. So it's super fun to see them banter and it's play with one another because they are absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Both of them. It's fun. It's fundamentally fun. Also,
if it wasn't so tragic. It would have been fun if it wasn't so tragic.
Tragedy is fun, though.
We do like our drama. Fun. We do like it.
No drama, no plot.
True.
One thing that I like to point out is always the fact that or if you read Jayce's story, you see that he sort of sees Victor like a friend. And actually, Jayce's lore mentions the word friend. Yeah. But Victor doesn't. Not even once. He acts out of mutual respect.
He doesn't say that he sees him as a friend, but he did say something. Wait, let me find that.
He says it's there in the quote in part 3. Wait. Part 3.
Part 3.
In Victor's lore, it says, the two worked together frequently, but never truly friends. That's Victor.
Victor worked with Piltover's best and brightest, including an insufferable genius named Jayce. The two were equally matched in intellect, but when Victor was methodical, logical... No, there was something else. It was one, like, before he fell into the depression part. Wait. Diving... No, that's a diving suit. No, it was here. That's not it. I feel like I think it's not that he was like really friends with him, but he did feel betrayed by him, because it says here like Jayce reported the incident to the college masters and Victor was censured for violating basic human dignity, which is total bullshit, but okay. Though in his eyes, his work would have saved many lives. He was expelled from the college and retreated to his old laboratory in 𝙤𝙬, disgusted by the narrow-minded perception of Piltover's inhabitants. Alone in the depths, Victor sank into deep depression and during and that's like when they were talking about the trauma.
The part is in Jayce's lore. Victor was the closest thing Jayce had ever really had a friend. And distraught over their falling out, he went back to working on his own. And he grew more insular. And his patience towards others grew even thinner.
Yeah, no, that was from Jayce. No, that was from Jayce's perspective.
Victor doesn't have anything from the human standpoint of Jayce being a friend. He was a colleague, he was a collaborator, but never a friend. Victor is like, yeah, you're here. And Jayce is like, yeah, you're here. Maybe you're a friend because you are the actually capable of standing in the same room as me without throwing a chair at me.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what friendship is.
Yeah.
While Victor is like, ugh, friendship is a feeling. I don't want it.
No, but he wasn't like that. He didn't talk about feelings like that before. The only reason he started talking like that about feelings was like after the whole like situation
After
with
that being very depressed.
Yeah.
But I mean, in Victor's law, probably because both of their laws are told by their point of view after everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
They recall their old times and they present it with the mindset that they have after everything has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So Victor is pretty aloof about everything, while Jayce is like, I tried, I did what I had to do. And Victor is like, yeah, human, it happened, I not calculated.
Yeah.
So it's probably that. But he
yeah.
doesn't mention Jayce as a friend. Not even once. But it is mentioned that together they expanded their intellectual horizon.
Yeah.
So they actually did something for one another. Probably it all comes from Victor being way more logical and methodical and seeing things in a bit of a Sherlockian way.
Mm-hmm.
He goes for what is logical and it goes for what is mathematically best to do, and sometimes thinks that the best decision is the decision that all the odds bring to. Mm-hmm. While Jayce has this way of seeing things through his own eyes and perspective.
Right.
So he feels things through his skin, lacking the analysis that Victor has. So probably that's why Jayce brings the "we were friends" thing to the table.
Also,
because
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go on.
During his story with the little girl, he just like that half of the story is just him talking about the experience with Victor. And like the little girl calls him out about, it's like, is this still about like fixing my doll? Like, what are you guys? What are you talking about, dude? Like, you're kind of projecting. Like he was just like really talking about it, and he was like, you know, how like he just like explaining how like, you know, if you want to achieve something, boo boo, and he was technically talking about Victor the entire time because he was just like always ready to be attacked by Victor's like drug-induced bullies, where in reality it's just like probably some people who are just, you know, connected to breathalyzers that he had never seen in his life because he had never been to Zon.
Also, it is mentioned that he thinks they are most definitely Victor's people.
Yeah,
well, in fact, they may be from any kind of Canberran pop.
Yep.
Because like he thinks Victor is all about Jayce,
when he doesn't care about him anymore.
Actually, he does send a few attacks to Jayce's lab, not but to check if Jayce is doing anything important.
Yeah.
So it's like they're so. I picture them in their labs thinking about me, and I wonder what he's finicking with. I wonder if his experiments are about me, and I'm like, people.
Yeah, pretty much. No, because like at the end of Victor's lore, it said that he sent thugs to his lab once more to check if he has any more like, you know, crystals. But then and then it like literally cuts to. But now he just like completely forgot about it, and he's now like completely focused on you know, continuing with his experimentation into the glorious evolution. Meanwhile, Jayce is like, Victor is looking for me. He wants to attack me. He's going to kill me. I will always be prepared. And like the little girl is just like, sir, you need to calm down.
She actually goes, this is probably the funniest bit in the whole lore of League of Legends, and she goes, what is wrong with you? Most facets of my personality.
Yeah.
How can you not love him?
It's
he
hilarious.
knows people think he's an ass, and he knows he is, and he's aware of it, and he's like, yeah, I'll be bragging about me being an ass.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's just genuinely fun. It's like giving you the superhero through a monologue about how we are defeating the villain. Are you done? It's amazing, the endless possibilities of him bragging that he had, while in fact people are like, oh no, again.
Yeah, that's kind of how he is. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's because he's so self-absorbed. It's just how he is. Yeah.
He's so smart, but he can't see past it. Just
Nope.
like super stupid, and I love it. I just love it. It's impossible not to love. Also, both of them being incapable of being social in their own way,
Yeah.
makes it for the question of what does it mean to be friends? Because like Jayce sees Victor as a friend, probably the only one capable of being in the same room as he is without throwing himself off a cliff at any given chance. And probably does Victor even think about friendship? We don't know because it's never mentioned, but we as people generally see friendship as when I am in need, a friend is always there to help.
Yeah.
But it's not the only kind of friendship that exists, unfortunately.
I think they're more acquaintances than really friends. They're more acquaintances than they are friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
He just doesn't know what an acquaintance is.
The word friend is used, I think, as a comfort word.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I am unbearable, but at least I have a friend.
Yeah.
Okay? It makes you feel safer about yourself. While in fact, they aren't on friendly terms, actually.
No.
Not that much.
No.
Because the other thinks about his experiments and Jayce thinks about himself and his experiments, and they don't have to think about each other in friendly terms. They are people, know each other, work together, are in the same room, still haven't tried to smother one another or one of their discussions. But that's that. In League of Legends, that's where it stops. It's not arcane. They literally are sharing a lab. They were lab mates.
Yeah.
And Jayce is like, we are lab mates, and he is still here. Amazing. I must have made a friend. Because it's like, friends are the people that are around you.
They can tolerate you, yes. Yes.
So it's like, day 34, he still hasn't stabbed me in the neck. I must have made a friend. Well, Victor is like, I wonder if I put too much sugar in my coffee.
Y'all.
Like, literally, he doesn't care, and Jayce is like, does he care? I hope he cares. I think I made a friend. Please, my mom always told me that I had to, and please. He's like, in Lilo and Stitch, he is like, please God, send me an angel, the nicest angel you have, and then you have Victor Catherine laughing in zone, being like, ha 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 ha, evil.
Oh my god, that's actually genius!
Like that.
Oh my god! I can totally see just like Jayce on his knees praying for like the angel and then just like Victor laughing down in Zon maniacally. Yes, that is the perfect definition of their friendship. Yes.
Absolutely. Because having a friend is socially acknowledged as the tangible proof that you aren't a bad person.
Yeah.
If in the world someone likes you enough to be a friend, then you mustn't be that bad.
Yeah.
And Jayce relies on that. I have one friend, so I'm not that bad. All of you people telling me I'm bad, I have one friend. His name is Victor. I don't know his surname.
So Victor is just in his lab is like, I have no idea who this man is.
I have seen this man like twice. And the other one is like, he's my friend. My girlfriend is very much into My Hero. Okay,
Academia,
I haven't watched it at all, but she tells me things about it because she believes I am really made like Baku.
Oh god.
I do behave like him. I am 100% like him. And there's a scene that she made me watch where Bakugo and Todoroki are sitting. They're getting interviewed, and the interviewer says, "Are you guys friends?" And Todoroki's like, "Sure, we're friends." And Bakugo is like, "No, we're not." And it's Jayce and Victor. Like,
no, Victor wouldn't even react.
We share a lab. No, we're not. I don't.
No. I think Victor would have never actually reacted to it at all. It would just like sit there and be like, no.
No, not really.
Yeah, no, like monotone. Like he's just being honest. Like, no, we're not.
Like
yeah, poker face.
And be like, whatever, just like that. It's fun. And moving on to more serious topics, we go to part 4 so that we don't spend too much on me rambling.
Yeah.
Which is stupid, because I could go on for days mocking Jayce, like through the end of time, because it's my favorite sport, mocking Jayce. I am gold Olympic medal of mockery towards the Hammer Man.
I can do the same thing with many other champions. The guy wears
baggy pants with his boots. How can you not mock him? He's amazing.
I wear baggy pants with boots.
He does wear baggy pants with boots.
I do too.
Pants? The guy is so old-fashioned.
Are you mocking me? You should start mocking me too then. I'll show all my photos with my baggy pants and boots. How would prove you wrong now? I mean, if he would wear a crop top with that, he would look amazing, okay? He just chooses not to wear a crop top. That's his issue. As
your resident corporate goth Twitter, I do vouch for having the revamped Gothic skin line and give Gothic Jayce. I have concepts for that.
If we have a Gothic male champion who's not wearing a crop top, I'll be so mad. I'll take that personally.
It's part of the look. You cannot not have it. Yeah. I mean, everyone should wear a crop top by default.
And fishnets. Crop tops and fishnets for everyone. Yes.
We're giving them away. Absolutely.
All right.
You see, you can like Jayce, you can hate Jayce, but he is entertaining. He makes you have. Mocking him is fun.
No, it's fun as a headcanon, but as a lore person who has like read the stories and I've seen it all. I can't. Just like I like mocking and like hating and like making fun of like a bunch of other characters and champions. Like I would always make fun of Swain and LeBlanc and how stupid they are together. But like at the same time, it's like all very dark, tragic, and like hardcore and like serious. Yeah.
It's that. So but the thing is, probably in order to survive this world where everything gets retconned or uncanonized or canonized or edited or everything, I do live in this tiny bubble where there is lore that is canon, and then there's another world of me thinking of things that should be or shouldn't be canon, living in a tiny garden, swinging all lined with flowers as Jayce pushes me, and I'm like, it's okay, it's fun, it's fine. Nothing is happening. You can shit on my favorite chakras.
I wish I had your wholesome dreams, okay? I wish that's how my brain worked, but unfortunately, no.
You see,
when I think about Noxus and Noxian soldiers, you should never ever reach anywhere online or into anywhere. Just no.
I live my life like Pyro from Team Fortress. Have you seen the video Meet the Pyro? He has actually flaming things flambe, but he sees him shooting bubbles and going beyond.
Yeah.
everything is a rainbow. I do live like that. Otherwise, I couldn't survive. It's a coping mechanism.
It's a coping
that
mechanism.
Most
It really
have.
is. Yes, I agree.
It is. I am forced to live like this. I am forced to live like this.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that I haven't mentioned, but why do I like Jayce that much? Because I was main medic in Team Fortress.
Ah.
And they look alike.
That explains
They are
everything.
that kind of person.
Okay, we can end the stream now. Everything's explained. We can leave.
I also have a tiny medic here. He's my favorite.
Of course.
This guy is amazing.
Oh
He's
my gosh.
completely off the handle. He's unhinged. He's got the strong jaw, the faded cut, the lab coat. He does things out of science. He's just like Jayce. He replaces baboon hearts with regular hearts to enhance people.
So fucked up. So fucked
It's
up.
good. I mean, I always like to imagine Jayce incredibly drunk and telling stories about his experiment. And anyway, that's how I lost my scientific license. That's basically medic. That's you see him drunk in Piltover and he's teaching people about the one time he building, trying to test the hex crystal, and he was like, "That's how Tanjiro kicked me out." Hey!
And that's how I tortured an entire Breckeran nation. Yes. Yeah.
That's why the Brackens hate me and I can't set foot in my Hey! That's it. That's him. It's just so much fun.
Part 4.
Yes. Are we human or are we dancer?
You had to use that. You had to use that. You had to make that as your
Absolutely.
title.
It was the title because you see, among all the fun and all the things that happen in League of Legends lore, that part of them discussing humanity, regardless of how they interpret one another, because you have Jayce going like, I think Victor is completely off the hook and he wants to mind control people and he wants to shave humanity off of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Victor is like, humanity is holding me down and holding everyone down, and if we get to surgically eliminate flaws, maybe we can better as a entire
as a society,
race.
as a race, yeah.
Exactly. It does bring a very interesting point for discussion, because usually when you have lore in video games, it does have a main theme, and sometimes it's social divide, sometimes it's whether it's okay or not to murder entire
Populations,
bring
yeah.
the white back. But for this particular lore that they share, it's Black Mirror's meet philosophy, because you get to wait for a second, step out of their bickering for a second, and get to see the wider picture. What does it mean to be human?
Mm-hmm.
And how different they see humanity and how they reacted and what brought them there. Because you see, Victor hasn't had an easy life. He comes from a background where he had to fight to have his genius recognized.
Right.
And even though he ascended in Piltover, he probably still needs to prove himself every time. And because he's a 𝙬𝙬𝙬, he's a...
Right.
Okay.
Low life, yeah.
As much as he can be good, he will never be seen as good as he should be. He will always be recognized as a 𝙬𝙬𝙬 and always be a point of manner. Okay. So he had prejudice pushed upon him, and he of course understands that he it needs to be removed. Absolutely. And further along the story, after not finding the help he hoped for and being sold out and being left alone and falling into depression, facing not only the fear of the workers but his own fear of failing of himself, he decides that the best way to evolve is to cast feelings out. Okay, his way to react is to remove what is hurting him. On the other side, Jayce comes from a rather privileged upbringing. He was born in Piltover, so he definitely didn't have the difficulties that Victor has faced. But he has got a personality that nobody likes.
Right.
Being human is not liked by anyone. So he sees humanity from the perspective of someone who is human, who is proud of himself, but he is facing people who are like, dude, like,
chill.
No, you're not. Okay. So they both have this vision of being human that is not positive. None of them ever talk about, I don't know, being happy, being satisfied, being supported or supportive to one another.
Right.
Most of their laws is about them facing difficulties, even psychological, because he at some point when Jayce is experimenting on the responding, he finally faces frustration
for the first time, yeah.
And he faces defeat, and he feels diminished by this. And all that he ever thought he's being cancelled by something that is just this big and is mocking him, and he is losing his nuts for this. So instead of reacting in a way that removes what is making him feel bad, he pushes through it. He keeps smashing it. And that's probably why he does defend the thought of being human as a whole, in embracing or having to deal with or carrying on regardless of having an baggage.
Right.
Because he may have not faced all the difficulties that Victor has, but in his own way, he had setbacks. So he does react by pushing through. Victor reacts by pushing away.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Jayce, in a way, embraces humanity because by pushing through, you can achieve stuff. And he's a ram. He just barges in feelings, situations, experiments. He goes like a train. There's no stopping. There's an obstacle, he tramples.
Right.
Victor sees an obstacle, and since he is very methodical in his...
He tries to find like a physical way to fix it.
He tries to find a way to move around it. And if the obstacle is not avoidable, he tries a way to remove it. It's what later on I called the Amazon Place syndrome, with the workers and the miners.
Wait, where is it?
It's in part 6, I think.
Yeah.
The fact that, as you mentioned before, the miners have difficulties in carrying on their jobs because there are
poisoned
and they're having troubles. And rightfully so, you said, but why aren't you sending out homes then?
Yeah.
Why are you using people? That's the Amazon workplace syndrome. Instead of removing the source of the problem, you are trying to make your work towards the problem by finding means to work around them.
Yeah.
It's not getting to the surface of things. It's not getting under the things. It's just keeping on the surface and trying to bypass the problem. This is a very computer-like way to think. And it's weird because if Victor really had embraced this kind of thinking, he wouldn't have tried to the people from the chemical spill. Because they most definitely, a computer would have calculated their possibilities to survive and would deem them unsalvageable.
Yeah.
And would have left them be. So the humanity in Victor is still pushing through for them to save them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to finally have characters that make you think of what it's like to be a human and how does it feel like to face hardships in life and how you want to face those.
Yeah, because they both take like a different approach to it.
They take a different approach. Both approaches can be
Questionable.
valid. Questionable.
Yeah.
They both can be valid. They both can be extremely damaging on the
Yeah.
because you should be balanced in tackling your feelings.
Yeah.
But they're not balanced in anything. So that's it. So it's interesting because it I don't know, it makes me smile because I am both of them in some way.
Yeah.
Cause like when I had my low, I always thought how easier and better life would be if nothing had happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, both by force, both by sheer willpower, I pushed through.
Yeah.
Because some things cannot be avoided and life can, and I am not giving up.
Yeah.
They are both not giving up on what is happening to them, but they're doing it in completely different ways. And it's good teaching, I think, to see them being so different in everything, but at the same time being the same exact kind of human being.
Yeah.
They are put in front of difficulties and obstacles to overcome, and they, both being scientists and both being very smart, decide to tackle them in completely different ways. So it's like being human isn't just one thing. Being human isn't just being alone or feeling defeated or feeling lonely or feeling misunderstood. Being human, it's the drive that and the way that you do.
Yeah.
So I always like it's very good story material because no matter what you put them through, you will always get a reaction from them. They will never give up. They will only go on in different ways, but they will keep on going. And it's nice to see because at some point they both decided that there was much more to do and that shit had to be done and that they had
and that there's no one else that could do that shit besides them, so they have no choice but to put themselves into that situation.
At some point you just pack it up and move along.
Yeah.
And if you are strong enough and brave enough and lucky enough to get to that point, you will see that being human sometimes does bring satisfaction and positivity and happy things. And it's important also as a teaching moment to see that you have to believe that good things, even if all clues in your life are possibly leading you to think the contrary. You have to believe that you are going, either in a way or another, you are.
In that what? In a way, you're what?
You have to push through, and you can do it.
Yeah.
And at some point, one way or another thing will happen, and you.
Yeah. Only Jayce is just like choosing to do it on, like, first of all doing it on his own, but also like at the end of it, like in his lore it said like that for the first time that he was working with the people, he started actually like they stopped like judging him and actually went along with what he said and did, and he said himself that
maybe you should try to be nicer.
Yeah, maybe I should try to be nicer and like things would be better. And with maybe the extra maybe at the end of it. But and with Victor it was like the same thing, right? So but only he like looks for a more physical change that could help you to deal with things, kind of like, you know, how people need to use medication to deal with things. So yeah, and the fact that he was willing to help this like one kid and be like, if you ever need it ever again, let me know, I'll like cut your head off and put a metal head instead if that's what you want, you know, like I'm down for it. I ain't judging you, do what you want. So yeah, so he's like dealing with it in a secret way. Also like the fact that Jayce is dealing with it while also being in the spotlight and being known as a hero, while and he's kind of like okay with it, but also at the same time he really doesn't care. And Victor is known as this like monster who sits in his lab and like cuts people's limbs off and shit like that. And it's like the way Victor also like reacts to it when the kid tells him that, he's like, is that what you heard? And he's like, well, yeah. It's like, where did you hear that from? And he's like, from my friend's uncle who's also a brother. And he's just like, I think you should like work on your sources more, but yeah, no, I'm not gonna cut your head off. So it's like, and all while giving him a glass of milk, like, what? My guy, that was so wholesome. Like, again, that was like one of my favorite stories. It was so cute.
It's incredibly smart that both their color stories and Blitzcrank's color story all have to deal with kids.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, it's like kids are the mouth of truth.
Yeah.
They always speak the truth. They're just unapologetic. If they see something, they call it out.
Yeah.
And them, Blitzcrank being literally and dealing with what he could have been if he was human, and them being big babies of some sort, dealing with actual kids, is like, I see that. I see what you did. You needed someone to be like, are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, like question you, but like in the most wholesome.
Does it?
Yeah.
You think it comes from, I don't know, train of thought, but when a kid does it, you're like, good. Even a kid can see it.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's super good. They're babysitters.
Yeah, I love in general, I love the whole like interaction of kids with like adult characters, because like majority of the fantasy characters that we know of in League of Legends are always like so fucking traumatic. You know, like they've gone through so much trauma and so much shit that like their moral compass is like all over the place, and then you have that like one kid that kind of just like resets it in a way because it gives them like a different perspective. Yeah. That's why I need Annie in Swain's lore. That's why I need it so much, because I think that would be like the coolest fucking thing. That's what they did with Nunu and Lysandra. You know, with the whole story, that's exactly what they did. You have this like innocent child, well, even though Annie's not really innocent, but she is innocent, she's a child. And you have that interaction with like the adult, where the adult is just like, oh, that's a different perspective. Yeah, it's a really nice trope. Anyway, yes, what part are we on now?
Yeah, no, one last thing with the kids is it's fun, because like Jayce faces Amaranthin, and she brings a toy soldier, that she broke by accident.
Right. And like, why did you break it?
exactly. And Victor faces a kid who is being bullied. And it's basically them as kids.
Right.
Jayce involuntarily breaks every...
I actually didn't think about it that way. You're right.
Yes, I mean, Jayce broke his only possible friendship. Victor is scared of what people about him while in Piltover.
Right. Right.
They're exactly them. It's them, but in kid form. And by dealing with them, they automatically deal with themselves a bit.
Yeah.
And the fact that at the end of Jayce's goes like, there's nothing I
can
can't
fix. Yeah. Like, because
He's
I've
like,
broken so many things
really
throughout
sure?
my life that there's nothing I can fix. But besides that one friendship that you kind of like fucked up. Yeah.
It's cool, because it's like, there's nothing I can fix. Are you actually promising that you will try and fix things actively?
Well, I think it's just too far gone
bragging?
now. I mean, like, I don't think it will ever happen now because, like, they've made Victor into just, like, evil mastermind boo-boo-boo thing. So, like, I feel like they're not even going to try to fix anything at this point.
The thing is, I don't think it needs fixing. I mean, as much as it was cool, like in Legends of see them picking the collaborative path.
Mm-hmm.
They worked together and it was nice.
Yeah.
And they had like reminiscing moments together. And then at the very end, in the very last, one of Victor's mini-bot is scanning projects to see if there's something to steal. And as much as this is stupid, I think it's the very superhero cartoon trope that literally pushes them forward. The thing that I would like to see in Victor and Jayce's moving on is them collaborating and then bickering again and bickering again, because
but it's like it's inevitable. It's inevitable for them to not work together to achieve something. Like
like maybe they can work together for a bit, but then something.
Wait, repeat that.
You see them. Maybe they can work together, but at some point something happens and they screw it up again, and they break up again, and then at some point they go back working together, and then they break up.
Mm-hmm.
It's the basis of any comic book series in the early 90s. Mm-hmm. Everyone does that. They're at it again. They don't solve, and then they're back on their bullshit again. Right. And that's what makes them entertaining. Anything could happen in Runeterra, like even during the what? And then they could have
the what?
During the Ruination, they could have collabed again, together, and then instead of using big fans to wipe away the mist. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Ruination. No. We don't do that.
No. But the thing is, any possible scenario, you put them in and you're winning. Because at some point, one of them is doing something, the other one is going to react, and then you will have a finale for more adventures and more shit to happen. Yep. They're perfectly written for comic book series. Yeah. There's just that. We had the part 5.2 point to face at this point the Mother Teresa friend. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I pointed it out as a loose friendship. Cool. It's like they are acquaintances more than friends. Yeah. And you have to understand that not all friendships work the same way. You are not always going to be there for your friends. And if you think you absolutely are going to be, that's some white knight syndrome. Because either by fate, accident, or honestly you not seeing the point, or another one not seeing the point, you aren't never going to be 100% there for everyone. And it's okay. It's human. It's up to you to decide whether you do things or not. Whether you can do things or not. And the fact that you miss chances doesn't make you awful. It just puts you in a different place in the scale of friendship. You may be super high in the scale of friendship. You may be a little bit lower. You may be an acquaintance, which honestly doesn't require you to do jack shit because you're an acquaintance. It's not like you are on a binding contract to work with the other.
Right.
So that's especially if for both of them it's so hard to understand people. Jayce doesn't understand people at all. Victor doesn't understand people at all.
No, both of them.
It's impossible for them to be fully functional friends.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it from them. It would be weird. It would be like, you behaved like a dick all this time and suddenly you do exactly what I expect you to do? What happened?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
That's it. So when Victor comes to ask for Jayce's help, I have never expected him to actually help him. It is not in his persona. You all would have loved.
But it's not about, this is not about friendship though. The whole like thing with Blitzcrank, it has nothing to do with friendship at this point. Like you can be like not a friend of mine, but like it's just like, you know, artists, for example, you know, who have their shit stolen by like massive companies and stuff all the fucking time. I don't know these people personally. I don't know. I'm not friends with them, but I will stand beside them because that's the right thing to do, because that's like it's just, it's not even morally correct, but it's like, because if I'm not gonna do it, it might eventually happen to me too, you know, like what, and I will need someone to stand up for me as well. It can literally happen to anyone, and it's just like fucked up that other people will try to fuck someone over just so they could like gain something out of it. So as a scientist, I'm not talking about friendship, as a scientist, he should recognize the fact that if you're doing this, like, you're not just like, it's not even like backstabbing friendship, right? It's like, it's a backstabbing like the idea of like scientific integrity, because you just allowed someone, and like, you know what Victor is capable of, you know how his work looks like, you know what he does, you know what he's all about. Obviously this fucking Piltover dumbass doesn't know how to make something like that. Nobody in Piltover makes things like that. It's a Zon thing. Again, it's like, it's made, it's literally all out of brass. So like, the fact that he just like did that, I don't think it was because he just like, he let his emotions get in the way of like this scientific integrity. Basically like, oh, I think that you're like super fucked up, so I'm not gonna stand up for you because that's what I decided.
Two things though, cause yes, but one thing, Blitzcrank wasn't completely built by Victor. Blitzcrank existed, Victor found it, and then enhanced it and improved it. So it could have been like literally anybody else building it.
Right.
Second thing is, Stanwyck is one of the major professors in the academy. And both Victor and Jayce are currently students at the academy. For someone so into the academy is...
Sorry, repeat that again? Okay. The academy is what?
The academy is the Piltover
The Piltover Institute of what?
Of Science.
Of Science.
You have to be enrolled, and you have to be enrolled in a certain way, able to carry out your...
Right.
And without being cast out, which is something that we also see in Arcane. You have to be in the academy. Otherwise, you are cast out. Why should I not really into the Blitzcrank thing? Because he doesn't know that Victor made it. He can think that maybe it's Victor's making it. But honestly, he is a Blitzcrank, to him, is a golem.
But
He
like,
was
why would
already
Victor
existing.
lie about it? Like, Victor would never lie about anything like this.
But why would I risk my academic course over you?
It has nothing to do with the academic course. It has to do with scientific integrity, which is what he
You
stands
are going against stanwyck, who...
But you are a very really successful student. So what if Stanwyck?
But if the academy
and Stanwyck is here against Victor, not against Jayce. And if he does it right now to Victor, what are the chances that he's not gonna do it later on to Jayce or to any other student? What if he would? Because if he is in that position and he can use other students to do that, to do these things, and Jayce does want to better humanity, some scientific piece of shit who has no idea what to do and doesn't care about humanity whatsoever, stealing all of that just so he could monetize off of it, or use that to worsen the lives of others so he could monetize how through finding a way how to fix the issue that he caused. That is a massive issue. And as a scientist, you understand that. It's just something, that's why I had such a massive issue with 𝙗𝙪𝙧𝙞𝙬𝙧 and 𝙗𝙪𝙧𝙀, like for the exact same reason. You're aware of the fact that you have like a really powerful source that these kids are fucking around with. You're aware of the fact that this person is dying and that humans will become extremely desperate to survive and would do anything that they need, and you still push him to the brink of wanting to like KYS to like, you know, just like, I know it happens. Yeah, sorry to hear that, buddy. Yeah, you're gonna die. Oh well, it happens to the best of us, buddy.
The difference between Arcane, 𝙗𝙪𝙧𝙞, that probably stanwyck as a Piltover professor just wants things to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
But 𝙗𝙪𝙧𝙀 Arcane is built as a character to be so old that he lost touch with what is real.
Mascot.
He just doesn't die, and he doesn't understand that
people die.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he doesn't see it. He just gives speeches and stops people from doing things because he doesn't get it. He's smart, but he doesn't get it. stanwyck is just like, as many Piltovans are, and that's a Piltover issue, is, this thing is good. How can I make it about myself?
Yeah. It's corruption at its finest, though. That's how you fuck up the exact same progress that you want to create, though. You can't reach progress if you allow this to happen. And it doesn't matter who it is. It could also not be Victor. It could have been literally anyone else. But like the fact that you don't stand up for it, even when you're asked to stand up for it and you choose not to, sorry to tell you, my guy, but it's just like
weird. No, I agree. I'm like, whenever this part of Jayce's lore is brought up, I'm like, dude, you could have a little help, maybe like a word. It's just like, you didn't. But from Jayce's point of view, I can sort of see I hate. It was like, dude, I want no shit. Just let me be.
I don't think so. That's the thing. So, like, in my opinion, it's not that about like I don't want to have anything to do with it. It's like I'm not gonna have anything to do with it because out of spite to you. That's what I think.
Possibly.
Because like they had this like bickering and they had the fight, and then like Victor went down to 𝙞𝙤, and only after he came back that entire shit happened, and only after that they had to deal with the suits. So it's like it was way before they even had the major fight. So it's not like you had really something to hold against him, but he still like decided not to do anything and just allow that to happen, and it really sucks. Yeah.
I think it's one of the parts of their lore that needs a little more fleshing out. Because there's literally like 2 sentences. Right. Why does he do that? Because like at this point we can only speculate. I have always believed that Jayce was the kind of person to be like, dude, I don't want to fuck with this kind of thing.
Right.
The dude is a major professor at the academy. I don't want any trouble. You're on your own. But on the other side, it would have been correct to just at least I don't know, investigate or being part of the claim. And I see why Victor, like, it was his chance to be a friend, and is like waving goodbye at a chance of person.
Yeah.
It is, absolutely. But why did he do that? I can only question. I'm like, at this point, I decided that he...
At this point, wait. It was silent for a good 3 seconds. Again?
Oh no, am I lagging?
No, your mic has been doing that the entire stream, but it's okay. This part.
I decided for myself that in this particular moment in his law, dude, he's a professor. I want no shit. Just, you know, let me be. And he makes a mistake. Okay, he does it. Honestly, I'm slapping him in the face, bringing some sense to him. It's good procedure. But it misses a chance.
Right.
And I would like to know, why does he miss this chance? Because, like, he is a douche, but in his lore, there is to him being this nasty. Why does he do that? Why does he scoot sideways and just lets this pass?
Right.
Probably, and I thought probably it's because a start of a breaking point was needed between him and Victor, because otherwise you would have had two perfectly abnormal people bickering over things, and then why do they decide to split up? Why does take things the way he does? He must have had something that pushed him to believe that maybe being human and having to deal with humanity isn't
right.
The diving suits aren't enough of an excuse for him to feel this way and get depressed. Being kicked out of the academy is not enough. So probably it was laid out this way a bit poorly, honestly, to have a path to the Great Divide.
Right.
That otherwise would have been weird, would have felt weird. Because, like, from this moment on, you guys never...
That people shouldn't actually have, yeah.
I mean, you cannot be each other's arch nemesis just because you fought over a few suits. It's stupid.
Yeah.
There was something else that was needed. But again, since this is so important, at least explore it. If you don't want to explore it in Jayce or Victor's lore, explore it in Blitzcrank's lore. Say something. Why? Because Blitzcrank is amazing. Is an automaton that's starting to show human emotions. He learns. He behaves like a child. Too powerful to follow orders, and does take things with too much of a swing. Blitzcrank is an innovation, something that is impossible to repeat, and that baffles even his own creator. Victor has no idea why Blitzcrank behaves like this, and it's probably because the crystal is sentient again. But nobody knows at this point. So, since Blitzcrank, who knows?
Yeah.
Since Blitzcrank is so important, then why are you dismissing it so fast? It's just like, he goes out for help, Jayce doesn't help, Victor loses the cause, back to normal. But unfulfilling.
Yeah. They didn't go enough into Blitz. They were like so focused on Victor and Jayce specifically that they like completely forgot that Blitz kind of existed in that story, and then like that was kind of like the really good character development for Victor, because that's basically of him realizing that he had created a human entity that is within a mechanical golem. So it's like it would be like a kind of like a realization moment, but that kind of never happened. Okay, so we got part 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's go quickly through them.
Yeah, I think we can, like, a bit, part 7 is the stupidest, part, because it's like Jayce finds out his ego is fragile.
Yeah.
Like, shit, I should have noticed before. Good.
Yeah, good.
At
We
least
have
he's noticing.
some sort of like, yeah.
Part 6 is like literally one sees a solution to the mining problem as to eliminate fear for a little while so that miners can carry out their stuff easily without killing each other.
Yeah.
The other is baffled at the thought that someone could use, even for a second, a tiny drug to help people out. He's like, what is this
you
sorcery?
can't do
what
that.
are you doing?
Yeah.
He's freaked out. He's freaked out. And I think, again, this is a very Piltover upbringing way to see it. Because, like, in Zone, possibly everything is chemical. Okay?
Everyone, like, in Zone, everyone's desperate, and they would do literally anything to, like, survive or may have something in it happen. And Piltover, you can just, like, pay your way out, or you never, you've never been, you've never had to deal with such an issue in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, in the real world, Jayce would be, like, the kind of person who basically really needs therapy, but is super afraid to admit that they are seeing a therapist. And Victor would be like, yeah, I have my therapist every day. Just like that.
No, I think Jayce would be like, I need to see a therapist. I can afford a therapist, but I don't want to see a therapist because it will bruise my ego. And Victor is like, I can't afford a therapist, but I need a therapist. But I can't afford it. But when I will see a therapist because I think that's really good. Yeah.
Victor adopts a cat.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Victor, yeah. Victor, I wish I could. I wish I could.
You adopt a cat. and then hold your friends accountable is like, you know, Jayce is acting like this shit isn't good with me.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying with like the not like hold your friends accountable, because like you see that he's like doing some really weird creepy shit like for you because you've never seen anything like that in your life, and you're like, oh fuck, this is bad, I need to hold him accountable, I need to tell someone about this so that would stop him. But at the same time, like, you don't even wait to look through it. You don't even wait to think about, okay, so maybe in Zon, the miners are having an issue that maybe this guy who's from Zon understands better than I do, because maybe I don't know it all. Maybe I just need to hear another thing, and maybe I can use that idea, but like not make it as terrifying and dramatic as he made it sound. You know, like he automatically takes it personally and like completely exaggerates it and throws it out the window. Like, it's too much. I completely agree that like you need to hold people accountable, but like in this particular situation, Victor didn't even do anything yet. What are you doing? Yeah, but even when he did, he still like let himself be blinded by whatever it is that he fucking created in his mind, in his imagination, and like worked off of that instead of actually understanding what was happening.
You know what could have fixed this? Talking.
Oh, yes. Talking would have solved literally the entire lore of Runeterra. All of it. All you gotta do is talk. That's it. Everyone has trauma. No one knows how to communicate with one another.
From Aurelian having the Targonians not talking to him, to I don't know who's the latest champion.
Renata.
Not Renata. Who came before Zeri? No,
Zeri was Zeri is like the epitome of like, I have people that I can talk to. My family respects me and my boundaries and wants me to do the best. Also, I have this amazing community who loves me because I'm the best. And now I have this best friend whose name is Echo, who really likes what I did there in the factory when I saved everyone because I'm the best. Yes.
Yeah, you see,
I don't think she knows what trauma is, really. I think she's like one of the only ones. Yeah, we didn't get to see it yet. We'll see it. I mean, it's 𝙨. It's kind of like inevitable to have trauma in 𝙨, but like for now, it's like I'm so happy. I'm probably holding so much shit inside of me. It's like everything is like balled inside of me. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
but everyone in 𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙞 at some point is in the room
everyone
that is catching fire, and they're like, "This is fine."
I mean, even Yumi at this point, like she's trying to find her owner. Like I lost my owner. I need my owner. I can't find her.
I pity Yumi a lot because I'm like, if I go missing for longer hours than expected, when I get home, my cat meows at me so loud, like, "Where have you been, bitch?"
Yeah.
So I cannot imagine how
The abandonment.
after Nora going missing for years.
Yeah.
Yumi must be desperate. I'm sorry for Yumi.
Alright.
Super sorry.
What do we have next? Part 8.
We can skip part 7 because we talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Finally realizing that his ego is fragile.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Oh, poor baby.
We
It's
don't talk-
the funniest part.
So we don't talk about
Bashing his
stuff
ego
part
is amazing.
2, or if you were trying to save those people, then why did you turn them to kill me? Right, so the whole part with like Victor, when he had been saving these people for like hours, days, went as far as like to steal a crystal to save them, but then when Jayce shows up, he's like, kill him. What?
Instead of saying, "Dude, I'm trying to save those people."
Yeah.
Maybe Jayce wouldn't have understood the same way, but at least you would have tried.
Like, it's like, no, I think, but even in that situation, Victor would stand there and be like, "This is not what you think! This is really not what you think! I'm not killing people! This is not it!" He sighed. Right? He sighed.
He's like,
kill
again,
him.
kill him. And I'm like,
Yeah, because, like, I'm not even going to deal with you at this point. Like, there's no point in explaining. And honestly, I understand Victor in that situation. Like, Homeboy has been fucked up by Jayce over and over and over again with his fucking allegations and everything, that at this point, Victor just looks back and he's like, kill him. Like, there's no point. There's no point.
I came to your lab. I didn't explain shit. I took the crystal by force. I welcome you in a laboratory
Full of dead people with their brains out, yeah.
It's not as it seems, but since it's God, explaining things takes so much. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Go die.
Yeah.
Like, guess I'll die at this point.
Jayce is like, bet.
Oopsie. Wrong timing.
Yeah, it really sucks. Oh.
Their lore is them not talking.
Yeah.
It's just that. It's exactly.
Oh, it's lagging. Why are you lagging?
Everything that is about. Oh, am I?
Yeah. Wait. Let it. No, it's good now. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I have very, very bad internet. Like,
okay.
It's just like that. Every morning I wake up, I switch my computer on, and then I unfurl a super long cable to connect to my modem. Otherwise, the Wi-Fi isn't working. And it goes through the entirety of my apartment, which isn't that big, but across the corridor and across the kitchen, there's this huge black curled up cable connecting to my modem, and my cat has learned not to touch it the hard way.
Oh God, no! Spicy kitty.
She likes it, but it smells of plastic a little bit, so she goes like, she tries to, understand what it is, but she's not that interested, and the first time that she at it, I was like,
no.
Don't. And she got scared and then stopped. So 99% of me having bad internet connection. Because I don't know what these walls are made of. Like super thick cement or what the fuck is that? But
find yourself a house with Ethernet. Yay. Ha 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 ha. I love my underwater cables. They work so well for me. I honestly have no idea how I'm gonna live without it though. I absolutely have no idea.
Also, for whatever reason, I decided to place my computer the farther possible my modem, so it's not helping.
No, but if you have the cable, it should be fine. I mean, like with the Wi-Fi, yeah, it would be fucked, but with the cable, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. It's probably a very technical issue that most the super fast Wi-Fi and Ethernet connection runs through the cables in every street, but the second it has to enter a house, the wiring is still old. So all the speed gets suddenly abruptly cut off. And
I honestly have no idea how this building has it. Like this building, they completely changed the entire wiring just for that. And this is an old fucking house. This is like an 80-year-old house. This is like a my apartment is like falling apart now. You see me like tiling up and like fixing it and everything. Just because I am not willing to leave this apartment for the fiber. That's it. Without it, like I can't do anything. And other apartments, they don't have it. Not even like the most like luxurious, expensive apartments, like all over my city. Like they don't have it, and it's just I'm not moving anywhere. I told Johnny that if we don't find fiber in the US, like a house with a fiber in the US, we're moving to his grandparents' house in South Sweden, because in Scandinavian countries, apparently they have fibers everywhere. So I'll be literally sitting in a barn with all the fucking Highland cows around me with the fastest internet in the world. Like, that is a dream come true for me. I hope that will happen. I want a bed of hay and a bunch of Highland cows. But like, yeah. Anyway, going from the fiber talk, we have part 9, which is 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙞𝙪𝙨, which is how he likes to say it. And it's
the thing we've been discussing through the whole... They are vintage comic book villain and hero, and unwilling villain and unwilling villain and not really hero. With big responsibilities come big problems, and sometimes if you do things that are in a gray area and slightly morally questionable, some people will definitely think you're a villain unless you explain your things.
But they never do, because that's just how they are. They never do. They never talk. They never share it. And if they do, it's going to be like 40, 50 chapters after, when they actually have some existential crisis and they lose their powers and they're like, okay, now I need to fix myself. Now I need to work on myself and on my feelings, because like maybe that's what actually stops me. Yeah. And we've got part 10, a house full of Jayce and all the very cool Jayces in Runeterra.
My house is a house full of Jayce. Look at all the Jayce merch that I am allowed.
That is so cute. Oh, I mean, what can I say as a 𝙨𝙚𝙧𝙞𝙀 main?
This is the battle I can...
At least I have Darius. I have all the Dariuses. I have the tiny Darius. It's so funny, like the difference that they have between them, because this is like from the very first merch that they ever released.
I have it. It's so weird.
Look how ugly he is. I love him. Okay, and then we have like the handsome Darius, right? Who's like super cool, and I love the little boys just like grabbing onto him.
Actually, Slam Dunk Darius is the first skin that I have ever had in Legends.
Oh, really? No,
the very first. My friend got it for me because it was the first skin that I saw. Because like Voidbringer Illaoi was a little meh when she was launched, so I was like, I prefer classic Illaoi. And my friend tried to, and he was like, this is like the latest skin, was like Dunkmaster Darius. And I was like, God, this is so cute, look at how big he is. And I was super into, like, the
dribbling while he runs. Oh, yes.
And the new voice lines and having much, finally, after using past like 10 lines, or anything. And I was
Yeah,
like,
the new lines that he had there is like, I think that just for that it was like super cool to purchase him just for those lines alone.
Okay,
The thing is, like,
I wouldn't stop talking about Dankmaster.
For me personally, the reason why I was obsessed with Dankmaster Darius is because I used to play basketball in middle school, and my uniform was literally the same uniform. Like, I have to find it now. I have to find it. I have to show it to you. I will find it. But yeah, like, I was completely obsessed with that because, like, it just, like, it was like, it just shot me back to my middle school, high school days. Okay, okay. Let's see if I can find it. I don't really think I've uploaded anything. Okay, let's see if I can find it. But it was exactly the same. Like, to this day, I really want to get my hands on that, on the jersey, the Noxus basketball jersey. But it's so expensive for no reason.
I have it. It was a birthday present.
So yeah, I'm planning for it as a birthday present as well. Like, I want to get that with the shorts. It's like, where am I gonna wear it? And also, like, I'm like, my arms are so flimsy and skinny. I know it's gonna be huge on me.
Yeah, I look very weird in my jersey, but it's super comfortable because during the summer it's very lightweight and it's very breathable and it's cozy. It's big. Unfortunately, the size of the pants in the shop don't fit me, but
I think they're gonna be too big on me. Majority of the clothes that I like wear are like male clothes. So, yeah. Just gonna tie myself up in those. Yeah, I can't find it, wait. Maybe it's here. I've edited it like years ago, but I still keep it because it makes me very happy. No. I still have the memes that I made with Lux and and Darius and Garen. Where is he? Where is he? There it is! Oh my god, in fact I actually have it still. Okay, I'll have to show it on my phone, but like, wait.
Oh!
Wait. I don't know if it can focus, but yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, and our whole thing was wearing striped knee-high socks to all our matches, and we won all of our matches because they were lucky socks. Yeah. So like, yeah, so like when I saw his outfit, I was like, ah, fuck. Like, that's me! That's made for me! Yeah, I was just the happiest camper.
Like, Dankmaster Darius has got to have me admit that my first skin ever was Darius, and the second one was 𝙗𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙞𝙬.
Of course. Of course. It's all those beefy big men with chiseled jaws. It is what it is.
The thing with 𝙗𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙞 is that for his splash art, it is rumored that he is based on a French actor that I love, who is Jean Dujardin.
Oh, okay. Yes, we do know who that is.
They really look alike in that. And I'm like, dude, I love that actor. I've got to have 𝙗𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙞. The skin itself is a little bit because the armor isn't that cool looking.
Yeah, it doesn't
but
look like it.
the idea of 𝙗𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙞 is
the only Jayce I'm willing to bend my feelings about is the bearded Jayce. The one who's fighting against the Praetorians.
Mm-hmm.
And the lore, what was it called?
I know the name in Italian, but I don't know the name in
J-Skins. J-Skins? Forgot what it's called. Resistance Jayce. There we go. Resistance Jayce. That's the only Jayce that I'm willing to... Yes.
He's the Sean Connery Jayce.
This is the only Jayce. Like, well, I remember when this came out, and I always felt about Jayce the way that I feel about Jayce, but when this came out, it was just like, well then, this is quite questionable now. My morals have been tingling.
I remember being very happy because in like months before this came out, and I was like super thankful that it came out, and Necrit without permission screenshot.
Wait, he screenshotted what?
One of my tweets, being very happy for Jayce,
Alright.
and used it for one of his videos, and I was like, dude, ask.
Yeah, no. It's kind
But
of
like, I was very, very, very happy when it happened. Absolutely. Because it was like, finally, because the last skin Jayce had was Battle Academia. And I like it. It's a very good one. But he's a kid in that.
Right,
He's a
no.
teenager.
Darius in Battle Academia just makes no sense. I feel offended for Darius to be in Battle Academia. Both him and Garim, it's like those two adults that have never finished high school. They just repeating the same year. They have been repeating the same year for 10 years now. Like, they have no business being in there. They could have literally chosen anyone else. I'm like, I can't. I get it, but the Sasuke haircut with the little thingy on it, no, my guy, no. Like, no matter how much I liked Kill la Kill and the big boy from Kill la Kill, like, I will never, no. I can't.
I agree, Wukong in Battle Academia is the...
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Wukong in Battle Academia is the
also-
cringiest, yeah.
Also because I have 3 champions that I would like to be removed from League of Legends. And
Irelia.
it's and Riven.
Irelia should be removed.
I have 3.
Forever.
So anything Wukong, I'm like, is it really necessary? Do we really have to? Like,
I mean, yeah, I guess one of the cheesiest champions that have nothing to do, kind of, and we're still trying to kind of implement them into the lore, but they've never really been implemented into the lore. They're kind of just there. Yeah.
They do have more lore than Shaco.
That's true. Shaco doesn't exist.
I have more lore in Runeterra than Shaco.
I have more lore in Runeterra than Shaco.
I'm sorry for him, but I do.
It's so bad. We're sad.
Really, like...
It will happen. It will happen eventually, I guess. It will happen eventually.
They will get there. I mean, he is too mysterious not to be hooked in either a demon verse of Runeterra or something shady happening either in Noxus or anywhere else.
I mean,
he has got to be like... You have to
majority,
do this.
honestly, like, not it like a lot of people, like, you know, would always joke about like Shaco and would always, like, you know, talk about him, but the ones who really lack lore are the Yordles. The Yordles literally, like, don't even have a page. Like, the fucking book, when I bought it, I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited about learning about Yordles. And then you go there,
and there's nothing.
and you have this. That's it. There's not. That's it. That's all we have about Yordles. This is like the thank yous. Like, nothing. This is it. Before that, it's the void. Like, I was so mad. I was so mad.
It's telling. You put the void and then you put Yordle. And I cry in Lulu every day.
Yeah. So, right. Okay, well, this was really, really fun.
Yay,
thank you for joining me. We have spoken. You haven't converted me. And I don't find him hot. Although in this skin he is quite attractive, not gonna lie. But yeah, I just hope that in the lore things will, like, change a bit. The thing is, like, you see, I can change my mind, okay? If the lore continues and I learn more about the character, I will like them. So, like, same thing goes to all the rest of the champions, probably besides Vayne. But it, like, same goes to all the other champions. If they realize what they have done wrong, if they just like decide to better themselves, or like, you know, have some sort of like redemption arc, I'm fine with that. Besides the evil ones, because like, please don't ever give evil characters redemption arcs. Don't do that, please, for fuck's sake.
They don't need it.
They don't need it.
Not every villain needs to be redeemed.
No, and especially Vayne. Like, no, we can't redeem that ever. That's gone. It's over. Like, that's where it is. Okay. So yeah. So like, if that's the case, I will change my mind, of course. But yeah. It really depends on who's writing and what's gonna happen, because until then, like, I'm always basing my opinions on written facts and only like from what I can see. So yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you, friend. I hope you enjoyed this as much. It was really lovely to have you here.
Yay!
Maybe next time we can do something else together. Yeah, and I know that someone suggested me to make this into a series, to have a bunch of people who like champions who I dislike come on here with me for maybe like changing my mind. Could be really entertaining, even though it's really hard to change my mind, but okay, nonetheless we can still try to do that. But it was like a lovely lore talk. It's really fun to have someone who knows what they're talking about to have this conversation with. This is why I started this channel in the first place, because I have no other people who like to talk about lore as much as I do. So yeah, so I will let you go. Thank you again, and I'll hop back into my main thingy. So yeah, I will think of what I should be doing in this Friday. I was actually thinking of going off of like, I thought of doing like another lore talk thing, but I'm not sure, so I'll have to look into it and think about it more. But obviously I'm still waiting for Renata to come out so I could actually play her. I haven't been on the PBE yet, and I'm not planning on being on the PBE because of it. Because, like, it's just it's impossible for me to catch her because my ping is so high. So like, every time I want to pick her, she's just gone. So I won't be able to do that, but I will definitely keep playing The Witcher, and if there's anything else that we can think of, or any tier list that we can think of, we can do that. Again, I know that you guys really like those tier lists, so I'm always down to share my opinions and feelings about that, even though majority of them are quite obvious. Yeah, this was really fun. This was a new concept, and yeah, I will really think about bringing other people onto here to discuss stuff. Obviously people who I kind of know. I'm not gonna do it with complete strangers. I don't want to do it with complete strangers, because it can escalate really quickly if I don't know them. You know, like, one moment I want to have like somebody hanging out with me, the other moment I'll have like some sort of fucking Lux or Seraphine stan yelling at me, or saying derogatory things to basically get me banned. So yeah, we're not gonna have like complete strangers on here. Animal Crossing is a good idea. It's a great idea even, but I'm just like so very much at the very beginning of it that I don't think if you guys want to be there for it. I mean, it's gonna be like a really chill stream where we can just like sit there and play and discuss anything, but I really don't know what to discuss. So yeah, you can always drop some suggestion on my Discord, by the way. Discord link down below, so you can click on that as long as you're 18 years old. Also, you should check out Franz, aka RTPod, aka Jayce girl, their art station and their social media. They have like plenty of really awesome comics and art, and many other cool things that will be coming out soon, because they're working on a lot of projects. Yeah, Nikki Boy could be fun. Yeah, we can have Nikki Boy. I can maybe talk to Skyn if he's not too busy. Maybe Necrate, even though I don't know who's Necrate's favorite champ. Does he have any favorite champ? Because, like, with Nikki Boy, it's just going to be Ivern. But it's not that I hate Ivern. I like Ivern. We could just like discuss things with them regarding these champions. Because I don't think anyone wants to like try to convince me to simp their favorite champs, especially Nikki Boy. I don't think Nikki Boy will want to hear me talk about all the possibilities we can have with Daddy Ivern. I watched you playing that farm game for 6 hours. Try me. Yeah, but the farm game had a whole plot. With Animal Crossing, it doesn't really have a plot. That's the thing. In Animal Crossing, you are just, you're meeting villagers and you're like just grinding for shit. That's it. That's all you really do. I will, I will get the expansion for Animal Crossing where you can design their apartments. I'd love to do that. I like doing that. I could always do that on Sims, which I also have all the expansions for. We can do that. So yeah, but I just don't want to jump to like different, whole other different games. I want to have like one specific playlist that I finish, and I'll finish this game and I'll move to the next game. So like we won't go all over the place because my computer is already all over the place with the amount of shit I have on it. Yeah, thank you all again for joining. It was really, really, really fun. And I'll see you again this Friday as usual. So yeah, love your faces. Don't forget to go check out my Twitter for all my simping and my TikTok, which I've started uploading on again. So yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.